Hey everyone, Firescale Audiobooks here. If there's a novel you'd love to hear more of, you can support us on Patreon or Ko-fi. Depending on your tier, I'll make extra parts just for the stories you're most excited about. Usually I can only upload 4 to 5 parts of each novel, but with your support we can go beyond that. And of course, don't forget to hit subscribe. It helps more than you know.
General, everyone is in place and all the rich people nearby have left, but in order to keep it secret, we did not notify Tony Stark. In the darkness, a faceless, dark guy took out a walkie-talkie and reported the situation to General Ross. Tony Stark. You did the right thing? His relationship with Chen Xi is unclear. Who knows if it will be leaked? General Ross, who was sitting in a command vehicle 1,000 meters away, said sinisterly. Don't worry about him. If you have bad luck, don't blame us, just blame him. After General Ross finished speaking, he immediately hung up the phone and took out his night vision binoculars to observe every move of the army. Stop, everyone, listen to my instructions and take off your shoes. There are 2 masters living here. No movement is allowed before the attack is ordered. Clear, clear. In the darkness, these soldiers immediately took off their military boots and marched barefoot. Everyone held their breath and looked solemn. There may be no coming back this time. They know the 2 masters inside very well. Killing them is like trampling on a nest of ants. Getting closer, getting closer. The speed of their advance was getting slower and slower, and their little hearts were pounding even more, almost to the point of jumping into their throats. They were so nervous that the short distance of 200 to 300 meters seemed like the end of the world, and they would never end. The sweat was like rain hitting the body, soaking the whole body, and the big sweat on the forehead kept falling down. Relax, relax. Take a deep breath, take a deep breath. Don't be nervous, don't be nervous. The low voice of their captain came from the headphones, and the captain kept comforting the team members. They are risking their lives, how can they not be nervous? Not to mention that he was fine. The more he comforted him, the more nervous the team members became. They all lived in a free country with good food and drink and girls hanging out all day, not to mention how comfortable they were. They are suddenly asked to perform an almost fatal mission. Who can bear such a bolt from the blue? But isn't it the duty of soldiers to obey orders? They can only bite the bullet and rush forward. Even if they had already written the suicide note, they would probably have to kill half of them this time, right? Even if the masters were attacked, one fatal blow would kill more than half of them. That's right, in their psychology, if Chen Xi and the 2 of them are attacked by them, they will die. They are holding the latest developed super biochemical weapons, neurotoxins, in their arms, which is not a good thing. Such toxins are not allowed to be studied at all, but why do they care about such a convention? They are the United States. It's so powerful that they regard the so-called convention as a joke and don't have to abide by it at all. If the production and delivery is successful, the neurotoxin in a box can be put into an elephant and turn it into an idiot. They have hundreds of elephants in their hands. Where can such a small villa go? There is nowhere to escape. Who makes them masters? They are masters of teleportation. As long as they breathe such a high concentration of neurotoxins, you can't even react to knock them down instantly. It's just that their behavior is like running wild in broad daylight, which is obvious to number 18. There are 300 to 400 more people outside the door, and there are 300 to 400 more different kinds of energy. Can she not feel it? Everyone's anger is different, and number 18 couldn't help but laugh when he saw their cautious and sneaky looks. She quickly called Chen Xi. Dear master, the fish has taken the bait and is preparing to attack us. Please come back. Although she can easily deal with this group of miscellaneous fish, Chen Xi has a bet with Banner and cannot delay it. The fish took the bait. Very good. Chen Xi smiled slightly after hearing this. Everything was going according to plan. Come on, Banner, let's go have some fun. After hanging up the phone, Chen Xi turned to look at Banner, but the latter was a little downcast. Lost, really lost. He really lost his wife and lost his troops. Not only did he have to endure Hulk's torture, but he also had to listen to other people's orders. Resistance? Don't be ridiculous. Hulk was beaten to death. Is his small body big enough for someone to kick him? Okay, let's go. Banner was crestfallen with a look of despair on his face. Haha, let's go. Chen Xi laughed loudly, grabbed Banner and teleported back to the villa. Only Tony stayed where he was, drooling with envy. Teleporting was so cool. In the villa, Chen Xi has returned, still holding banner in his hand. At this moment, the soldiers outside had reached the courtyard of the villa and squatted down. Everyone, open the safe, take out the psychotoxin bomb-launching rifle and wait for my order. The voice of the action team leader sounded again in the headsets of all the soldiers. The soldiers were moving very fast and it didn't matter at this time. Now that we are here, half of the task is completed and everyone feels a little relaxed. Little did they know that their every move was like a clown performing for their own entertainment under the eyes of others, and the audience was just playing tricks on them. Master, do you think they will be too excited if they successfully launch a weapon that they think is particularly awesome? When they are cheering and celebrating, will giving them a big surprise scare them? Haha, no. 18 saw their performance from the blurry surveillance footage and couldn't help but chuckle. This is not a surprise, this is a shock. Banner was finishing up the damage next to him and secretly scolded Ross for his behavior, which was just trying to die in a good life. You're looking for death and you're so annoying to me. Banner said he was very tired. While everyone was talking, the soldiers outside were already taking aim. Listen to my order, shoot. After giving the order, everyone aimed at the windows on the first, second, and third floors and fired directly. Bang, 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 time, the glass shattered and thousands of neurotoxins were dropped into the villa instantly. A dark green smoke instantly filled the entire villa. Okay, well done, ha. Great, General Ross looked at the dark green smoke rising from the villa and slapping the table fiercely with a look of ecstasy on his face and laughing excitedly. Even the folds on the face can trap a fly. Think about how thick it is and how exciting it is. It was unexpected for all of them that the operation went so smoothly. It was a bit surprising. General, isn't it a little too smooth? There's something weird about this. The lights were on in the house and no one went out. It looked very reasonable, but the vigilance of experts like them was too low. His deputy, a senior colonel-level guy, analyzed the causes and consequences of this matter with a solemn face and always felt that something was wrong. But Rose was in high spirits at this time, waved his hand and said nonchalantly, "You are right, but think about it, they are experts, but they are all young people. Young people, in the words of Longuo, they have nothing to say and nothing to do. They never thought that we would raid them, we have no enmity with him. Would you be wary of a stranger?" General Ross made an analysis which was quite reasonable and well-founded and immediately dispelled his deputy's doubts. Is this really the case? It's too natural. Suddenly, a joking voice accompanied by a burst of applause sounded in this small space. Ha, General Ross is right. People are scared to death, and this is the situation now. Chen Xi's sudden appearance scared Rose to the point where he almost choked to death. The proud laughter stopped suddenly and his expression suddenly changed. He looked at Chen Xi, who was smiling in horror with an expression of disbelief. Aren't you in the villa, are you okay? He pointed at Chen Xi and yelled with wide eyes, obviously scared to death. Me, you think I don't know your thoughts? Chen Xi sat down slowly, just like at home. Why? Rose's voice was low, but he still refused to give up. He didn't know what he was thinking. Why did Chen Xi know about it? This plan was not leaked. Want to know? Chen Xi smiled teasingly. Ross nodded slightly and uttered one word, think. Well, it doesn't matter if I tell you. Everyone and everything in this world can't be hidden from me. I know all your thoughts and thoughts. I know everything and can do everything. At this moment, Chen Xi's expression was serious and General Ross almost believed what he said. Haha, do you think I believe it? General Ross asked with a smile. You believe it or not, but you won't have the chance to believe it again. Chen Xi said nonchalantly. Such an attitude and tone frightened General Ross. You want to kill me? At this time his tone became a little panicked and stuttered. He never expected that Chen Xi was going to kill him. Yeah, you won't be alone on the road to hell. No, this is the road to hell. I hope you like it. Chen Xi's smile was cloudy and breezy and it didn't look like he meant to kill someone. It's just that such light words are full of Senhin's murderous intent. At some point his back had become wet and the air was as cold as the cold wind in the 12th lunar month. Ross roared in his heart, "How dare he? How dare he? He is the only one who judges the fate of others. How can others judge his fate and decide his life or death?" In the end, he still said stubbornly, "Kill me, there will be no place for you in America. You are provoking the authority of the entire United States. America, I didn't kill you. Who can cause trouble for me? Who saw you being killed by me?" Chen Xi looked at the old guy with disdain and then pointed a finger. The adjutant and driver beside Ross instantly turned into statues in his horrified eyes, then, bang. It exploded into a pile of ice slag as if it didn't exist and was all frozen into powder. Ross was shocked. If this horse rider was killed, there would be no case to be filed. Let's go. General Ross, let's see how your men go to meet the Hell Lord Mephisto. After Chen Xi finished speaking, he didn't even wait for him to resist and carried Ross, who was as frightened as a quail, back to the door of the villa like a little chicken. At this moment, the situation outside the villa was extremely brutal, a one-sided massacre, and of course the protagonist was none other than the Hulk. Back to 5 minutes ago, Chen Xi took Banner and number 18 outside to take shelter before these nerve toxin bombs entered the villa. He went to find General Ross while Banner and number 18 stood outside watching the soldiers from a distance. Sure enough, the soldiers put on gas masks and rushed into the villa with microflush. But before they could take action, everyone seemed to have hit an invisible wall and immediately fell over, unable to move even an inch. Fake, what the hell is going on? No, which woman's protective shield it is? Ah, that's right, they must be fine. The neurotoxin is definitely useless, it's over. God, I don't want to die yet. The soldiers thought of something at this moment. They had seen how incomprehensible number 18's protective shield was. But there are many people who don't believe in evil and don't want to die. They pick up the micro-punch like crazy and rush towards the protective shield. However, these bullets only made a crisp sound when they hit the protective cover, and some unlucky ones were killed by bullets that bounced from nowhere. For a time, screams and screams of crying for father and mother came one after another. They were already in despair. This is their final destination and their lives will end here. Unless you can fly, you may still have a chance of survival, but if you can fly, you will still be a useless soldier. Gloom and gloom are not enough to describe their mood at this moment, only despair that is so intense that it cannot be resolved. Number 18 had a cold look on his face and looked at these soldiers as if they were dead. Those who kill will always be killed. Banner, I leave it to you, killing is no stranger to you, right? Number 18 turned to look at Banner and said lightly, who would have thought that Banner's head was shaking like a rattle and rejection was written all over his body. You don't want to go? It's not up to you, number 18 snorted coldly. What a coward. What do you want to do? Banner was so frightened that he hurriedly backed up several steps. His expression was nervous and he broke out in a cold sweat. What do I want to do? I'll give you a ride. Number 18 smiled strangely and then picked up Banner. Let's go, enjoy it, ha ha ha, chirp. Okay, here's the soundtrack. But just the same, Banner was thrown straight into the crowd by number 18 like a sandbag. Wow, help, help! Banner was so frightened that he yelled and panicked. What kind of operation is this? The trapped soldiers were confused for a while. Was there internal strife? However, before they could think about it, under threat of life, Hulk instantly came online to take over the body. Roar, the Hulk returns. The Hulk roared and started the killing feast directly. He didn't care who you were, it was a burst of madness. It's so easy to tear apart white devils with your hands. Bullets? Sorry, scratching is not enough. Mental toxin, directly immune, even killed myself. So when Chen Xi brought Ross here, he saw a scene of hell on earth. Chen Xi was speechless, it must be no. 18 who acted like a monster, the green fat man had to come out to disrupt the situation and make it so bloody. How's it going, General Ross? You are not alone on this road to hell, right? There are so many soldiers accompanying you to hell. Ross thought about the consequences, but he was still frightened by the massacre in front of him. This was all his sin. No, please let them go. They are just following my orders. They are not guilty. I alone bear all the blame. At this moment, when a person is about to die, his words are also good. Ross knew that Chen Xi was determined to kill him. If he could save these soldiers, it would be a little redemption for him. General Ross, do you think it's possible? If I were an ordinary person or had little ability, would they let me go? They were here to kill me. If you cut the weeds without removing the roots, they will grow again when the spring breeze blows. With such a delay, Hulk had killed the last person within 2 minutes. Okay, General Ross, it's finally time to send you on your way. If you meet Mephisto, tell me I killed you. P.S. I think many people have seen this. Can you give me a small gift today? I asked shamelessly and only received a few dollars. Also, some people find me unhappy and being reported makes me really tired and I keep changing things. Chen Xi sentenced him to death and death is coming. The faint voice reached General Ross's ears very clearly under the silent starry sky. Haha, I didn't expect that I would die so aggrievedly. I really shouldn't have provoked such a ruthless person like you. Are you really not afraid? Even if I die, you can't escape the justice of the law. Maybe I just take the first step. Ha ha ha, I'm waiting for you below. Even if you survive, you'll be hiding here and there like a rat in the sewer, never seeing the sun all day long. Come on, don't talk about that kind of death. I haven't experienced it yet. Ross seemed to be really good at talking. Before he died, he wanted to give Chen Xi some eye drops. Chen Xi could also hear his deep regret. Since General Ross wants to give it a try, then I will grant your last wish. If someone has this idea, it can be regarded as his last words. Chen Xi should just be a good person for once, but the bloody scenes will always be the bloody scenes. There was always a scene of being saved by the knife, and Chen Xi even wondered if Nick Fury had come secretly. That bullshit Nick Fury was lying in wait and only jumped out when the situation was at its worst to maximize his benefits. No, just as Chen Xi was about to take action, a loudspeaker sounded loudly in the distance and a high-beam headlight also came on. Nick Fury shouted with a loudspeaker, "Mr. Chen Xi, please show mercy. Can you let General Ross go?" After finishing speaking, he patted the front of the car and said, "Coulson will drive over." Buzz, 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 the modified super bulletproof car roared away immediately. This was Nick Fury's car. As a guy who is extremely afraid of death, his car is quite impressive. In the movie, when he was attacked by Hydra, this big guy saved his life. When the performance monster flicked to a stop, Nick Fury got out of the car with a trembling Coulson. Chen Xi watched Nick Fury walking slowly with calm eyes. This is Marvel's famous fuckman, the black-hearted and black-brazed Nick Fury. Being famous is not as good as meeting each other. What a shame! If it weren't for the bright moonlight and the good street lights, he really wouldn't have been able to spot this dark-faced guy. Nick Fury quickly stretched out his hand and said very politely, "It's better to be famous than to meet him. Mr. Chen Xi is much younger and more handsome than in the photo." Chen Xi reached out and shook his hand. He wanted to see what tricks Nick Fury could do. He was very upset when someone interrupted him. "You're welcome. This is the first time I've met director Nick Fury. He is indeed different from ordinary people. He is like a firefly in the dark night." "Lolly, do you think it's all reflecting light?" As he spoke, he quietly winked at Lolly, who immediately agreed with her understanding. "Yes, the brightness is really shining." Haha, thank you for the compliment." Nick Fury acted as if he didn't understand. If he wasn't thick-skinned enough, he wouldn't be able to unite the Avengers. "I wonder what Nick Fury is doing." Chen Xi knew the truth and asked, but a show of force was enough. "I came here this time to ask Mr. Chen Xi to let General Ross go. After all, he is a general in the military. It would be a very serious crime to kill a powerful military boss privately. I also hope that Mr. Chen Xi can consider whether it is worth it." Nick Fury spoke sincerely and seemed to be thinking about Chen Xi, but in fact, no one was stupid. He is a jackal and a leopard who wants to be the final winner. The words are better spoken than the songs, and there is a faint reminder at the end, which actually means there is a hint of threat. If you want to move General Ross, you have to consider the serious consequences of going against the United States. This is a soft nail, and his words and deeds are flawless. Chen Xi seemed to be moved by him and actually fell silent. They all thought they had succeeded. Even Rose showed a grateful smile to Nick Fury, who also smiled slightly. Rose's favor was obtained. "This is a life-saving grace, a great kindness." Ross showed an expression of relief after the disaster. At this time, Chen Xi spoke. What Nick Fury said makes perfect sense. I have no reason not to accept such advice. Before Chen Xi could finish speaking, he was interrupted by Nick Fury. Then Mr. Chen Xi promised to let General Ross go. Nick Fury couldn't wait to ask. General Ross's lowered eyes flashed with a hint of cruelty. He lost this time. If he has a chance in the future, he will make a comeback and kill him. Unexpectedly, Chen Xi suddenly waved his hand. Who says I want to accept it? I reject them all. They didn't expect that Chen Xi's reversal would directly break their waists. The turn was a bit big, it was also a bit sudden. Nick Fury quickly said, "Why, doesn't Mr. Chen Xi feel that doing this is particularly unworthy? Is it worth it?" Director Nick Fury, what are you talking about? I didn't want to do anything. Chen Xi looked at Nick Fury in confusion. What did I do? I didn't do anything. Nick Fury and the others were confused by Chen Xi. You would kill him sometimes and not kill him sometimes. That, Nick Fury wanted to confirm again. I don't want to do anything. Chen Xi shrugged. Nick Fury and others breathed a sigh of relief. That's good, that's good. Sudden, a wave of cold air is coming. Nick Fury turned around and immediately exclaimed in fright, "No, don't, why? Under their horrified gazes, General Ross did not react, and without holding on for a second, he turned into a humanoid ice sculpture. Then, there is no more. He was trampled to pieces by the Hulk. Maybe Hulk just remembers that Ross, the bad guy, has been trying to catch him and he can finally take revenge. Chen Xi was speechless. The fat green guy did a great job. Nick Fury, you have seen it. Ross was stepped on by the Hulk and had nothing to do with me. Chen Xi pushed 4, 5, 6 and it was all clean. Nick Fury is furious. This guy's face was already dark, but now it's better. Chen Xi is so angry that it's even darker. Of course, no matter how dark it gets, how dark can it be, he could no longer care about giving in and shouted loudly, "Why can't you let him go? Why do you have to kill him? Are our laws dispensable in your eyes? Are you allowed to trample on them as you please? Fake. Not to mention how bad Nick Fury's mood is at this moment. Terrorists like Chen Xi must be eradicated as soon as possible. His heart was roaring, kill him. Must kill him? Director Nick Fury, are you doing something wrong? I didn't kill Ross, it was the Hulk who did it. You don't care about the real murderer. If you kill him, why are you killing me? Chen Xi seemed to have been greatly wronged and yelled at Nick Fury. He was going to complain. Go complain. Nick Fury was completely dumbfounded. He was frightened by such a strange brain circuit. He stared at Chen Xi in shock and stammered, You actually want to accuse me? Nick Fury really couldn't describe in words the mental blow he received at this moment. It had deeply hurt his already black heart. He never imagined that there would be such shameless people in this world. It was simply thicker than his face. He thought he was already thick enough, but he didn't expect it. This mountain is higher than the other, and the strongest has its own master. Seeing the shocked look on Nick Fury's face, Chen Xi smiled proudly. Are you being a rogue? Who would? I'm not a murderer. What can you do to me? I didn't kill the soldiers, I didn't kill the commander, and I didn't kill the mastermind. Naturally, all the blame is carried by the Hulk. He has become an X-level wanted person for killing people, and he has not lost a few lives, so he responded directly to Nick Fury's rhetorical question. It wasn't my intention in the first place. You showed murderous intent towards me, but it's your fault. By the way, I will ask my lawyer to sue you in a few days. Regardless of the safety of a legitimate taxpayer, you make unreasonable accusations and threaten his personal safety. And you have to compensate me for mental damages, lost time from work, nutritional expenses, etc. I also want to sue the military. They recklessly attacked legitimate taxpayers, causing an irreversible situation. Chen Xi chattered a lot. Anyway, he felt uncomfortable everywhere and had to pay for it. You humph. After hearing these shameless remarks, Nick Fury was so angry that 1 Buddha was born and 2 Buddhas ascended to heaven, and he almost exploded. He snorted coldly, waved his sleeves, turned around and left angrily. But just when he walked to the super bulletproof vehicle, a reminder came to him that scared him to pieces. Haha, Mr. Nick Fury, please don't be anxious, don't be angry, and please protect your intergalactic pager. I really don't want you to get so excited that you can't help but want to kill me, so I'll use this thing. Comrade Carol can't protect you, she's just your last trump card. You really have to use it at the critical moment. Rumble. Chen Xi's calm voice was like a bolt from the blue, striking deep in Nick's mind. In an instant, the sky collapsed and the earth collapsed, the sea water capsized, and his inner defenses completely collapsed and disappeared. It seemed that the moving body did not receive feedback from the brain at all, and it hit the front of the car hard without obeying the instructions. This collision didn't seem to wake Nick Fury up at all. He was still looking at the nothingness in front of him with frightened eyes, and his heart was roaring. How is it possible? How is it possible? How does he know that I have Carol's trump card? It shouldn't be, it shouldn't be. No one knows that Carol is my last resort. This person can read minds? No, I didn't think about Carol just now. How did he know? No, 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 no. How can such a terrifying existence exist in this world? Nick Fury was brainstorming like crazy, and he thought of a lot in just a few seconds. A lot. The calm look that he used to have without changing his expression even when the mountain collapsed was long gone. Even the aliens back then were not as frightened as Chen Xi. The pitch-black face also became slightly pale, and not even a trace of blood could be seen. Cold sweat had already soaked through his shirt, and there was a dense layer of sweat beads all over his bald head. Nick Fury suddenly turned around and stared at Chen Xi with one eye. How do you know Carol exists? How do you know about that intergalactic radio pager? Who are you? Only I know this secret. No one else knows any clues. No, you still have the mutant ability to read minds, right? His voice was as low as a roar, as if everything was squeezed out of his throat. Coulson has never seen Nick Fury in this state before. He is nervous, frightened, terrified, desperate, and hysterical. Is this still their black-hearted director who is as steady as an old dog? He was confused and couldn't understand. What else is Carol? What intergalactic radio pager? He was daydreaming, but Chen Xi turned a blind eye to Nick Fury's morbid and crazy attitude. Chen Xi spoke slowly. Comrade Nick, don't talk about Carol or wireless pagers or anything like that. It's you. I know exactly when you're going to die. Do you know that? What? My death? Nick Fury was immediately frightened and screamed, "Haha, don't interrupt me." Chen Xi paused and looked at him with a smile. There is nothing in this world or this universe that I don't know or understand, and I don't know how to read minds. But I know everything and am omnipotent. The past and future of all of you are under my control. At this moment, in the eyes of Nick Fury, Chen Xi is extremely arrogant, and the suspicion of bragging is too great. But I really can't seem to find a reason to refute him. Damn it, he's pretending to do it again. Just when the two fell into silence, Chen Xi spoke again. Free news for both of you. First, your superhero comrade Steve Rogers is still alive in this world, and you will meet him soon. Second, Comrade Phil Coulson, congratulations, you will say goodbye to this world in an alien world in a few years. Don't worry, you won't die, but you will be resurrected later. Haha, don't be surprised, people can be resurrected even after death. What? The two of them shouted at the same time when they heard the two news. They feel that they must be dreaming. This is a dream. This must be a dream. Otherwise, what if they would hear such auditory hallucinations? You mean Captain America Steve Rogers is not dead? How is it possible? He died heroically on the eve of victory. Nick Fury was scared again and said it was not a dream. Hiss, it hurts. Nick Fury pinched his arm hard. It hurt. It was not a dream. On the other side, Coulson has long believed that this was not a dream. Will he die? It really scared him and he almost peed, but then he let out a long sigh of relief when he heard that he could come back from the dead. Thank God, I don't have to die. After all, no one wants to die, not even ants. Of course, the biggest surprise for him is that his idol Steve Rogers is not dead. This is the best news he has heard in decades of living. If there weren't so many people, he would have howled long ago. Chen Xi naturally lured Nick Fury into taking the bait. He has to do this deal whether he wants to or not. It's not up to him. The news has been released. Can Coulson, a super fan of Team USA, keep it a secret? Chen Xi was very satisfied with Nick Fury's gaffe again. The crushing of this latitude and the psychological sense of superiority are particularly easy to make people feel happy. As a time-traveling person, isn't it because of such foresight that he has prospered? The golden finger he brings is that he knows the direction of the plot by heart. Okay, believe it or not, but soon you will meet America's first national idol, the superhero Steve Rogers. Oh, by the way, I will inform you when the time comes, but you have to bring a meeting gift. As for what it is, you will know. Chen Xi said casually, then waved his hand and sent him away. The goal has been achieved. Do you still want to keep him for midnight snacks? Well, with a slumped sigh, Nick Fury staggered open the car door and got in. He looked confused and didn't know whether to be happy or worried. Captain America Steve Rogers is still alive. He believed the news told by Chen Xi, so happy, but Chen Xi knows too much. He even knows the only secret and the last trump card, Carol, so he should be worried. Nick Fury was left looking sad in the back seat while Coulson, who was driving in the front, was extremely excited. He didn't know anything about Carol or an infinite pager. He only knows that his idol, the American Captain Steve Rogers, who makes him crazy, is coming back. Before driving a few kilometers, Nick Fury's deep voice suddenly came from the back seat. Coulson, just pretend you don't know what happened tonight. We don't know anything and we didn't do anything. Squeak. Coulson was so frightened that he braked suddenly. The tire braked until bursts of white smoke came out and it braked to death. Yes, I understand. Coulson only hesitated for less than 2 seconds before he reacted and started again. This time he did not ask why. After watching Nick Fury leave, Chen Xi turned to look at the villa that was no longer livable, shook his head and sighed. Let's go to Tony's place and spend the night together. Okay, that's all. The green fat man also returned to normal early. As long as no one stimulated him, he would soon go offline and Banner would take over his body. System, let's start. Extract first. It's still a long way from here to Tony's house, so I'll take my time to sort out everything. Ding, the plot character Nick Fury has been detected. Do you want to extract his abilities and items? This extraction requires 200,000 points. Well, let's extract it. Ding, extraction is in progress. Host, please wait. Ding, the extraction is complete. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the unlimited formula for the elixir. Sure enough, Chen Xi was overjoyed. For Nick Fury, this thing is his treasure. The system really doesn't care about other things. The infinity formula can significantly reduce the aging rate of humans. The Winter Soldier was injected with this potion, and Nick Fury was also injected with this potion. So although they don't sleep for a long time like Captain America, they can still maintain their peak condition. Unfortunately, the infinite formula also has side effects. It must be continuously injected. Once it stops, the body will age rapidly, but this is not a problem. But you can study slowly. In such a world full of infinite possibilities, nothing is impossible. Looking at the infinite formulas in the system space, Chen Xi smiled slightly. It would not be a loss to cheat a wave of black braised eggs. System, can the plot rewards be settled? Chen Xi rubbed his hands, his eyes full of anticipation. This wave might give him a lot of points. Ding, settlement has begun. Host, please wait. The system is very powerful and settlement started immediately. Ding, congratulations to the host for ruining all the plots of the Hulk and taking them on an unknown track. The host will be rewarded with 5 million points. Ding, congratulations to the host for changing Rose's fate and delaying the birth of the Red Giant indefinitely. Reward 1 million points. Ding, congratulations to the host for ending the plot of the Incredible Hulk, and the host will be rewarded with a Terminator TX bodyguard. 6 million, 6 million, this is a wave of obesity. Hulk is indeed an important character in Marvel. Changing his destiny will make him a small fortune immediately, which is extremely nice. It's just that he never imagined that Ross's life is quite valuable. He got $1 million, delightful, whistling and walking cheerfully. One could tell that Chen Xi was in a very good mood. No. 18 looked at him curiously. Master, you are not so happy, are you? Didn't you just trick Nick Fury? Hey, you don't understand, this is a secret. Chen Xi replied mysteriously with a smile on his face. I don't want to know yet, no. 18 turned his head arrogantly. If you don't tell me, I won't want to talk to you. Soon several people came to Tony's house and the door opened automatically. Welcome, Mr. Chen Xi. Hey, thanks, Jarvis. Chen Xi knew how awesome Jarvis was, just look at Ultron. He also wanted such an assistant, but it was too soon. You're welcome, Mr. Chen Xi. This guy is quite smart, but it's a pity that he's only half smart. How about comparing him with the Red Queen in a few days? At this time, Tony also stood up. They watched the whole process through satellite. I have to say that he admired Chen Xi. Although I don't know what they said, Nick Fury was laughing, crying, and frowning. He was a master of face changing. This is all due to Chen Xi. So Tony admires him for being able to make the black-skinned and black-hearted Nick Fury look awesome. Tony stood up, grinned widely, gave Chen Xi a hug and patted his shoulder vigorously. "Brother, restrain it, hee, scratch Rui." Chen Xi quickly grabbed this guy. "What the hell?" Tony chuckled before letting go of Chen Xi. "Okay, Tony, I can only stay here for a few days. The house is full of neurotoxins. It will probably take a few weeks to evaporate." "No problem, there are many rooms, you can take your pick. Such a big villa naturally has a lot of rooms." After Tony finished speaking, he asked curiously, "Chen Xi, how did you make Nick Fury change his face? It's so interesting. Want to know?" Chen Xi asked mysteriously. "Of course," Tony blurted out. "Okay, then I'll tell you. It's like this. I told him that the Hulk was the one who killed people and it has nothing to do with me. I still want to sue him and the military." Tony really listened to Chen Xi's serious nonsense. "That's it, well done." After hearing this, Tony sighed with emotion and gave Chen Xi a thumbs up. "Okay, I've heard everything. It's getting late. It's time for us to rest. By the way, which room has the bigger bed?" Chen Xi patted the sofa, stretched, and was ready to rest. "Turn left on the second floor and take the third room." "Okay, good night." Chen Xi said hello casually, then walked upstairs with Wanda and number 18 in his arms. Tusk, I'm envious. This is a role model for our generation." Tony looked at Chen Xi's back with envy and admiration. When did he become so awesome? According to the room, Tony said. Chen Xi and the others quickly entered the room. As expected, the bed was quite spacious, as Tony said. "Wait a minute, let me check to see if there are any monitors, hidden cameras, or anything like that." This guy Tony has installed smart appliances everywhere in his house. Who knows if he even installed them in the bedroom? Chen Xi's mental strength was very strong and he began to scan every inch of the floor, walls, and bathroom, not missing an inch. "Okay, it's okay." After a while, Chen Xi finished his inspection. Fortunately, Tony is not so perverted as to install any surveillance equipment in his room, but he still needs to be on guard against others. They took a shower and went to bed early. After spending the whole night either killing people or watching fat green men killing people, they were already tired. A night of silence. He got up at 8 or 9 o'clock the next morning and made an appointment to sign the contract today. The governor of New York has helped Chen Xi contact a large bankrupt group which is mainly engaged in research and development of biology and new energy. This is more in line with Chen Xi's requirements. At least Umbrella's main focus is biotechnology. At that time, we can borrow ready-made equipment and produce some emasculated versions of gadgets just to hide their eyes from others. Chen Xi took a lawyer and an accountant from his stock trading team and went directly to the city government building. There are so many clauses in the contract, he can't tell if there are any traps or tricks. Don't be fooled when the time comes. Although the city government takes the lead, the chance of such an illegal trap is zero. But as the saying goes, it is still necessary to be on guard against others. Find professional people to do professional things so that you can make fewer mistakes and take fewer detours. "Hello, Mr. Chen Xi, I am Phil Charles, the chairman of Life Pioneer Biotech. I will fully represent you in negotiating the acquisition of our company." The person who spoke was an old white man with gray hair. He was not in good spirits. It was estimated that all the efforts to support him would be of no avail. In the end, he went bankrupt and liquidated. In the past few days, he was disturbed by debt collectors and couldn't sleep all day long. No one was willing to take over them at this time. The supplier kept urging him to sell the land quickly. "Hello, Mr. Charles, our finance and lawyer have done their homework in advance and know your company quite well. At present, your company has sold off everything except land, buildings, and equipment, including patents and products. So the price we gave is $3 billion US. Chen Xi said lightly that this price was not something he said casually. The professional accounting firm they found gave them the most cost-effective and highest price. Anyway, to put it bluntly, it is only worth so much. This is the estimated price after bankruptcy and liquidation. If you can sell it, sell it, if not, find another one. When the old man heard this, he felt very uncomfortable. He had worked hard all his life to earn only such a small amount of money. Can I add more? This is a bit different from my psychological price. The old man thought for a while before saying this. Isn't it necessary to bargain? Businessmen can do it. After hearing his words, Chen Xi looked at him calmly and said calmly, "Sorry, our professionals only give this price assessment. You can seriously consider it. Mr. Charles, I'm not exaggerating. Every company in the United States is walking on thin ice right now and is on the verge of bankruptcy. If you don't pay attention, someone will jump off the building tomorrow. This price, to be honest, is very fair. My time is precious. If it doesn't work, we will find another one." Chen Xi spoke mercilessly and to the point and of course gave him an ultimatum. "Well," old man Charles sighed deeply, "I promised." He was at the end of his rope and now only the young man in front of him was willing to take over and there was no other way. If he doesn't agree, then tomorrow's news will be that the chairman of a certain company jumped off the building again. Haha, very good, you made the right choice. At this time, Governor Victor asked the secretary to take out 2 contracts. The land transfer contract drafted by the city government was presented to both parties for review and signature. As long as they were signed, it would take effect. After Chen Xi asked the lawyer he brought to check it carefully twice and found no loopholes, he signed his name. "It's a pleasure to work with you, Mr. Charles. Thank you, Mr. Chen Xi. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Otherwise, I would really jump off the building, alas." The old man held Chen Xi's hand and patted it hard. This was life-saving money. Chen Xi saved him in disguise. He was very grateful. "Haha, you're welcome. This is just a transaction. No one owes anyone anything. Don't be polite, Mr. Charles." Chen Xi said with a smile. The contract was signed, the land was purchased, and everything went smoothly. Umbrella's company has been registered a long time ago, and they are just waiting for Chen Xi to arrange the location of the company. While drinking coffee and chatting, the accountant had already transferred all the money to the other party's company account. The only thing left is for Chen Xi to take over the land. Of course, the sooner the better. Chen Xi couldn't wait to meet the Red Queen. "Mr. Charles, can you take me to see it? What an honor." After the transaction was completed, Charles also showed a smile, obviously feeling much more relaxed, and the big stone that weighed on his heart was gone. "Governor Victor, let's go first. Of course, a small gift has been transferred to your wife's account." "Haha, thank you, Mr. Chen Xi. If you have any questions in the future, please come to me. I will do my best." When Victor heard this, he was immediately overjoyed. He didn't think it would benefit him. After all, this was already a great achievement. Who would have thought that Chen Xi would be so polite and have an extra little gift from him? Easy to say, then let's go first. Goodbye, goodbye. Chen Xi and Charles walked out of the city hall and headed straight for Umbrella, which will cover the world in the future and even the entire universe. Umbrella has set sail. Not long after Chen Xi left, Victor, who was humming a tune and reading the newspaper, received a call from his wife. "Hey, dear, I suddenly received a text message from the bank. Someone actually wired me $1 million US. Have you done something particularly risky this time? I don't want you to continue doing this, it's too dangerous." Before he could speak, his wife started talking to him in a loud voice. "$1 million? Oh my God, such a big deal." Victor was also shocked. "Yeah, it's too dangerous, Victor, stop it, we have enough money." His wife is very anxious. If the profit is big, the risk is big. They have enough money to spend and it would be great if they can live a stable life. Calm down, calm down. "Dear, why are you so anxious? This matter is not dangerous at all. I helped a rich man buy a bankrupt company and he insisted on giving me a small gift for taking the lead." "Are you sure?" "Of course, how else can I lie to you?" Victor's determined tone finally made his wife feel at ease and stopped asking any more questions. On the other side, Chen Xi also arrived at Umbrella's new address under the leadership of Charles. Located in Manhattan, it's quite convenient. After sending everyone away, Chen Xi quietly came to the Underground Research Institute. "System, extract the hive base. P.S. It was my first show yesterday and the data was a bit bleak. Seeing this, I'm asking for a little gift, just like a meal." By the way, the author writes almost 9,000 words every day, so don't just rush through it. I really tried my best. Ding, as the host wishes. As soon as the system finished speaking, a model of the hive base automatically flew out of Chen Xi and landed on the ground. Buzz, under Chen Xi's expectation and curious eyes, it slowly grew bigger and became clearer. A minute later, the model was as big as an ordinary two-bedroom apartment, and then the excavator mode was turned on in Chen Xi's surprised eyes. Damn it, what kind of operation is this? Why can't I understand it? Chen Xi was stunned. The good guy dug a big hole and buried himself in it. What, are you digging a hole to bury yourself and committing suicide? Of course, this is impossible. The small base that completely disappeared from the ground had gone deep into the ground. Chen Xi opened its only door and walked in. He wanted to see what the hell it was. He was dumbfounded when he just pushed the door open. Welcome, Master, the great Lord Umbrella. This voice is familiar to Chen Xi, but what is unfamiliar is this world. Everything in front of him was too science fiction for him. What kind of space technology is this? One flower, one world, mustard seed Nazumi, space compression. It's only about 100 square meters outside, but when you push the door open, you'll find another vast super base. Chen Xi didn't understand and quickly asked the system. System, what technology is this? Space capsule? Host, it's quite troublesome to explain to you anyway. It's just a space compression technology. In layman's terms, it's like a space storage ring that you can understand, but the system opens the door on this enlarged version of the ring. After saying this, Chen Xi understood the super space ring that allows people to enter and exit freely. After knowing the general idea, he exited the system and looked at the humanoid projection of the little lowly who was speaking. Red Queen. Yes, I am the artificial intelligence Red Queen, and I have met the great Lord Umbrella, the little lowly projection said sweetly. This image in red clothes lives up to its name. There is something about this artificial intelligence. He is a super ruthless character in the movie, but here, system, host, please rest assured, the Red Queen here is naturally controlled by the system after being purged. The core instructions entered are to obey the host's orders and never betray. That's good. Chen Xi breathed a sigh of relief. No matter which movie, artificial intelligence or robot betrayal are everywhere, they have their own thinking. Once they can think, they have emotions. If such a cold and absolutely calm guy had emotions, it would be a devastating disaster. He looked at the Red Queen again and asked, Red Queen, do you have all the information on Umbrella here? Master, all the information of Umbrella Company is recorded in the supercomputer by the Red Queen. Please rest assured, Master. As long as the Master needs it, I can immediately arrange to clone researchers for work. Of course, the ingredients for the culture medium of the clones need to be provided by the Master. Hearing the words of the Red Queen, Chen Xi felt relieved. As long as he had the information, it would be easy to talk about. As for the culture medium, any problem that could be solved with money was not a problem. He said to the Red Queen, well, in this way, you first connect to the network of this world and then enter my mobile phone. Okay, Master, wait a moment. The Red Queen then disappeared directly, apparently having begun to connect to this world's network and capture information. Time passed bit by bit, and Chen Xi began to wander around the base. There was no one there, and the whole world was silver-white. The huge space was a bit crowded, and the silence was so terrifying that even my own breathing was clearly audible except for the feeling of deathly silence. He didn't like this depressing environment at all. Fortunately, the Red Queen scared him at this time and made him wake up immediately. You can imagine that in a dead space, a little red girl floating around with her feet off the ground suddenly appears in front of you. Can you not be scared to death? Damn it, Red Queen, you scared me. Can you say something? Chen Xi's face turned pale with fright and his mother's legs were broken. There are few people in the Long Kingdom who are not afraid of ghosts and zombies. There are too many ghost movies and Uncle Ying is one of his era. Squeak! Well, the Red Queen actually squeaked. Chen Xi covered his head. Queen Hong, you are a bit skinny. Go, let's play with eggs. Chen Xi rolled his eyes and asked, how is it? The entire network is connected now. Have you found anything different? Yes. The Red Queen tilted her head and thought about it. There were so many things that she didn't know where to start. Well, I see that this world is much more powerful than ours. It's just the Earth. From the data collected from various places, it seems that there are many strong people. There are still many places in this world that are unreasonable, but they exist in this world and are even more unreasonable than our world. The Red Queen didn't know that her world was just a movie world. She thought it was a legendary parallel world. She suddenly remembered something again and looked excited. Hee, master, I found a person of the same kind. Well, not completely right, half of the same kind. That guy hasn't taken that step yet. He can only be half an artificial intelligence. He's just trying to compete with me. I've locked him up in a dark room now. I'll let him out when he becomes more honest. The Red Queen happily shared it with Chen Xi as if she had gotten a new toy. Suddenly, Chen Xi wanted to laugh. It couldn't be such a coincidence, right? He seems to know that only Jarvis is semi-intelligent and he has never heard of other semi-intelligent people. Could it be? Red Queen, what's the name of the unlucky guy you caught? Jarvis, poof. Haha, it's indeed this guy, but it's probably the other guy who's more anxious. It's so interesting. Chen Xi burst out laughing. Ever since he came to this world, the most unlucky person was Ross. The second was Black Braised Egg and the third was Tony. These three people can directly form a victim alliance. Haha, the Red Queen doesn't have my order. Don't let Jarvis out yet. Wait for my order. Okay, Master Lord, it's really boring to bully a semi-intelligent person. The price will be very low. The Red Queen raised her head arrogantly with a look of loneliness and defeat on her face. Is this also genetic? Is pretense also hereditary? Just like the boss, there will be the same kind of younger brother. Shaking his head hard, Chen Xi shook off this thought. I'm not pretending. Red Queen, first create a subroutine and enter it into my mobile phone, then I will go out first. Okay, master, this is too simple for the Red Queen. As long as there is a network, she is everywhere. Leaving here and going outside, it is now a mess, all of which is the soil dug out by the Honeycomb Foundation. Chen Xi froze the soil into larger frozen soil and controlled the frozen soil to slowly fly out. Clean it up a little and then take out the Terminator TX from the system space. She is lifeless, so she can naturally be placed in the system space. TX, you are responsible for guarding the security here. No one is allowed to come in or out at this time, and any intruders will be killed without mercy. TX is the most powerful Terminator model and combines all the features of intelligent mechanical metal alloys and liquid metal. The most terrifying thing is, of course, that TX can be transformed into any advanced and complex weapon, and it is extremely lethal. With her protection, Chen Xi believed that ordinary level 3 mutants were no match for her unless they were special ones. Besides, who would come to this bankrupt company for nothing, to steal something? Well, this is possible. When he walked out of here, it was almost noon and he was already hungry. He needs a lot of energy now, and he is still unable to absorb all kinds of energy to maintain his body functions. Driving to Chinatown, he was ready to find some delicious food. Now he was not just pursuing filling his stomach, he also has to eat unique food. He has evolved. As for why he came here, the food in the entire world combined is less than a fraction of the food in Dragon Kingdom. If he doesn't come here, where will he go? Oh, this damn nostalgia. Seeing his compatriots everywhere, Chen Xi felt happy and felt friendly from the bottom of his heart. No matter when, no matter where, even across the universe, his bloodline is telling him that you are a descendant of Yan and Huang. It's not like he hasn't thought about going back and taking a look. It may be just a thought for him, but who can he go back to see? He is no longer a stranger in a foreign land, but a stranger wandering the universe. He has no friends at the moment. No, he has been without any friends since he was a child. He might as well stay here and not disturb him. He is now the source of the virus, and all kinds of things can always find him. Why not stay here like Huo, a bunch of white ghosts? Why bother to cause trouble to the compatriots? He looked at it for a long time in a happy mood and finally saw a restaurant specializing in Shandong cuisine. Chen Xi walked in with his feet raised. If nothing else, Shandong cuisine is generous in portion and tastes good, so it is most suitable for a guy like him who needs big fish and meat. Hey, compatriots, my little brother looks familiar to me. Everyone who comes here often looks familiar to me. The boss is very enthusiastic and knowledgeable. It can be seen at a glance that Chen Xi is from Longguo and he greets everyone very familiarly. This rough voice with a slight local accent made Chen Xi feel more at ease. He also smiled and said, "Yes, it's my first time coming here. It feels like I'm back home. The decoration and layout look friendly and reassuring. Look around and see the typical Huxia decoration style. Hey, that's right, my little brother is here for the first time today. Just order whatever you want and I'll give you a 50% discount. Haha, don't be polite, we are all from my hometown." The boss is very generous and it is not difficult to see that the gentlemen of Kilu Daddy are generous. Okay, you're welcome then. I have a big appetite, so don't feel bad when the time comes, Chen Xi said with a teasing smile. Haha, don't worry, we have enough. He smiled and handed over a menu. Chen Xi took the menu and swished it wildly. Although he ordered too much, he could eat it if he wanted to. This operation shocked the boss and he asked in a loud voice, "Little brother, I am not too talkative, can you eat alone? A dozen or so people only order these dishes. If you can't eat them, it's really a waste. You can't waste money if you have it." The restaurant owner was very honest when he said that he could not afford to waste food, but Chen Xi could really afford to eat these. "Don't worry, I can really eat it, I'm a big eater." Well, the customer is God. The restaurant owner has no choice but to do what he ordered. Since it was still early in the morning and it was not the peak eating period, it would be later, so the food was served very quickly and everything was served within half an hour. The portions of Shandong cuisine are generous and they are all served in large bowls. Chen Xi eats them while serving them. It takes half an hour to cook and Chen Xi eats them in half an hour. There is no delay. This scene made the hotel owner and the waiters go crazy. I beg you, this is really edible. People dare to say this because they have 2 brushes. However, people started to arrive one after another and it was already dinner time. At this time, the reputation of Huxia food has spread throughout the world. Many Japanese people always feel that they can't get used to Huxia food, but the slap in the face always comes too quickly. No one in this world can escape the great philosopher Wang Jing's law of true fragrance. As long as you eat it for the first time, you will never forget the delicious food. At this point, white ghosts, black ghosts, and gray ghosts have all arrived. Of course, most of them are our own compatriots. People who are used to delicious food can't get used to hamburgers and fried chicken. At this time, the quarrel between a white mother and her son attracted everyone's attention, including Chen Xi. "I don't want to eat this. I don't want to eat here." The little boy struggled hard with an unhappy look on his face and made a loud noise. "I won't eat, I won't eat. I want a burger, too," his mother was patiently persuading. "Baby, I ordered so much, you can try it." Unexpectedly, the little boy dropped his chopsticks and shouted, "How does this taste? It's too oily." The mother had no choice but to comfort her. Okay, if you don't want to eat, let's go eat hamburgers." After saying that, the mother took the child and left in a hurry after paying the bill. Chen Xi shook his head and smiled bitterly when he saw this, thinking of the past. "Oh, I am so blessed that I don't know how lucky I am. When I was as old as you, I could only compete with wild dogs for food." Chen Xi, who had almost eaten, called the boss. "Check out, how much is it? Brother is not an ordinary person, let me see." The boss lowered his head and took out his calculator and clicked it for a while, then said with a smile, "I'll give you a 50% discount and charge you 300 yuan. Okay, thank you boss, see you next time." Chen Xi is not short of money, but he doesn't want to destroy other people's wishes. "I took out my bank card to pay the bill and was about to leave." Chen Xi found a teenage girl sitting at the door looking inside. The girl's little face was dirty, her clothes were dirty and covered with dust, and her big, bright eyes were now filled with sadness and fear. She was holding a teddy bear in her hand, which was also dirty. She was a little timid and hesitant. Maybe this only teddy bear can give her some companionship and a sense of security. Chen Xi could feel that she was really hungry, but she didn't dare to come in and order something to eat out of fear or cowardice, or more probably because she felt embarrassed. Chen Xi stared at the girl blankly, motionless, and his eyes began to turn slightly red involuntarily. She really looks like him before, the one who ate one meal but never finished it. He was so similar to her now. He had also been so helpless, confused, and lonely. Afraid of being looked down upon by others, afraid of being looked down upon by others, both he and she are wanderers. Even though there are thousands of wanderers, maybe this is fate, these two wanderers met. This one glance means 10,000 years. Chen Xi walked slowly in front of her step by step, slowly squatted down and wiped her face distressedly. The little girl was startled and immediately took a cautious step back. The stranger's actions frightened her greatly. The big frightened eyes were full of anxiety and vigilance, and the little body was already tense, ready to escape at any time. You! Chen Xi took a deep breath to make his warm eyes look normal. A man would not shed tears easily. Who are you? What do you want to do? The little girl asked vigilantly. Despite her appearance, children in these countries are very mature in their thinking. Don't worry, are you hungry? I'll take you to eat. The hand that wanted to fall to comfort her stopped in midair, but he reluctantly took it back. He didn't want to scare her. But I have no money, and the few dollars I brought with me have been spent long ago. The little girl whispered timidly. She was very helpless. What could a little girl who had just been abandoned do? It's okay, brother has money, let's go. Chen Xi said distressedly, wanting to hold her little hand and go inside. The little girl did not move but said worriedly, No, I don't have money, the restaurant owner will kick me out. Can you pack up the rest of your meal for me? I'll be full if I just eat it. When hearing this humble request, Chen Xi could no longer hold back his tears. How much suffering had she suffered these past few days? He could imagine how a girl's world would collapse if she was suddenly like this. Chen Xi didn't know what the girl's condition was, but it could be seen from her clothes that she might have been from a wealthy family 2 days ago. Now she is the only one left after a family accident? No. The possibility is too low, most of them are abandoned. Brother, why are you crying? The little girl didn't understand why she suddenly shed tears. Chen Xi hurriedly wiped his tears and said with a smile, it's okay, sand just blew over, let's go. My brother has money, he doesn't have much for anything but a lot of money, we won't eat leftovers, but the little girl still didn't move. I'm sorry, brother, I don't have money to pay you back. It's okay, I'm borrowing this from you. You can give it to me when you grow up, don't you think you can't find a job when you grow up? Chen Xi said softly and comfortingly, I can. The girl said extremely firmly that the 2 days of wandering life made her know that she must survive tenaciously. That's right, you can return it to me when you grow up. Come on, let's go in. After Chen Xi finished speaking, he pulled her inside. Thank you, brother, I only need to eat a little. I only want one bite to eat and I don't dare to expect anything else. Yeah, it's all up to you, Chen Xi said softly. Boss, I'm here again to cook something delicious for my sister. She's been too hungry these past 2 days, so it shouldn't be too greasy. They all saw Chen Xi's gentleness and kindness. The restaurant owner was also deeply moved and waved his hand generously. Brother, look at it. We all understand that we can't ask you to pay this time, I still have some money. After saying that, Chen Xi left in a hurry without giving Chen Xi time to refuse. Chen Xi laughed dumbly. These are the people from his hometown. If anyone has any difficulties when traveling, please help if you can. The little girl was still afraid of strangers, so she sat quietly, lowering her head and gently stroking her little teddy bear. Maybe this is her only toy and only companion, right? The owner of the restaurant must have given special instructions. In less than 5 minutes, he brought out a bowl of tremella and lotus seed soup to warm her stomach first. Soon they were served corn ribs, yam, fungus, cauliflower and shrimp and several side dishes which were mainly light and nutritious. If you are extremely hungry, you can't eat or drink too much. The restaurant owner is doing this on purpose. Thank you, brother, thank you, uncle. The girl bowed very politely, her pearl-like tears slowly dripping down. She had encountered so many blank stares in the past 2 days, but only this place brought her a trace of warmth. Girl, don't be polite, it's all a trivial matter. The restaurant owner waved his hand and said with a grin he was very satisfied that he could help people in urgent need. Okay, let's eat first. The girl ate happily and did not gobble it up. She chewed it ladylike and slowly while Chen Xi watched quietly from the side. More than 10 minutes later, the girl finally finished eating, wiped her mouth, went to the bathroom to rinse her mouth and washed her face. This is an extremely cute girl, an authentic doll. Her long burgundy hair hung down her shoulders smoothly, and her big eyes began to shine with a moving light as if she saw hope. The curled eyelashes fluttered like a cute butterfly. With slender eyebrows, a straight nose, slightly red cheeks, and tender pink lips slightly upward, the girl looks very lively and cute. Looking carefully, Chen Xi felt that this girl looked slightly familiar. He just couldn't remember who it was, but he would know it once he asked. "Girl, what's your name?" "My name is..." The girl was about to speak when she was interrupted. "Hello, Mr. Chen Xi, can we go out and talk?" The voice of the visitor was extremely gentle, which could also be described as gentle as jade. Chen Xi and the girl looked at them at the same time. The girl didn't recognize them, but Chen Xi was extremely familiar with them. The bald man sitting in a wheelchair has a compassionate smile, and his eyes are as deep as the sea, as if he can see through people's hearts and no secrets can be hidden in his eyes. He is the spiritual mentor of the X-Men, the spiritual mentor of the mutants and their kind father, Charles Francis Xavier. The man pushing the wheelchair is also the most popular tragic man in Marvel's X-Men, Wolverine Logan. His resolute face has an unrestrained smile, and the thick beard on both sides makes him look even more fierce. Of course, he also smokes his signature cigar. It's just that the appearance of these two people made Chen Xi very strange. They shouldn't have come to his door at this time, right? Apart from killing the soy sauce character Pyro John, he had no interaction with the mutants and they did not appear. It just appeared suddenly today. Why? Suddenly he thought of something and looked at the girl beside him. Is she a mutant? She shouldn't be. The system didn't respond. If she was a mutant, she would have warned herself. Although he was full of doubts, it was not a problem. Charles couldn't tell himself this right away, so Chen Xi nodded. He looked at the girl. "Do you want to go with my brother?" The girl hesitated. She could feel that Chen Xi really cared about her, but she was like a dragster and didn't want to disturb his life. "Child, come with us first. This matter is related to you and your parents." When the girl hesitated, she heard Charles' kind voice. She didn't expect it to be about herself and her parents. It was about her parents. Even though her heart was already broken, she still had to stir up trouble again. The girl nodded and agreed. As the master of the mind, the old man Charles naturally knows how to grasp people's hearts. Even without telepathy, he can figure out people's hearts. You can guess the psychology of such a little girl with your eyes closed. In fact, this matter is related to her. After a while, a few people came to a quieter tea house and sat down. Chen Xi wondered, this Charles also knows tea? After brewing a pot of Bailuochun, Chen Xi didn't know how to drink tea, and Wolverine certainly didn't understand either. He knew about vodka, but he didn't expect that Charles actually understood tea culture. Wash the tea, scald the cups, and let them sit for 5 minutes, then pour a cup for each person. He was methodical, but Chen Xi was even less anxious. He took a sip of the bitter yet slightly sweet tea, closed his eyes, and slowly savored the taste. Anyway, he had something to ask for, so he was not in a hurry, and it must have something to do with the girl around him. Buzz. At this time, the 6 soul gems trembled slightly, and a faint golden light danced, like a candle in the wind. But this faint ray of light is like an unbreakable natural moat, blocking a spiritual invasion with just a flash. Naturally, the changes in the Mind Stone cannot be hidden from the owner Chen Xi. "Mr. Charles, don't waste your efforts. You can't break through my mind without the help of a brainwave amplifier. However, even if you use the brainwave amplifier, so what? You will probably still fail." Chen Xi took a sip of tea, blew in the hot air, and spoke nonchalantly. The voice was very soft, and they all heard the calmness coming from Chen Xi. "So what about mind dominance? Can it be compared with the rules that cover the universe? You think you are the Phoenix Force, even if this only exposes a trace of energy that is almost negligible, but this cannot be provoked by psychic abilities that cannot even cover the Earth. The Earth can be ignored in the universe." "Haha, sorry, habit." Charles smiled awkwardly, obviously very embarrassed to have his petty behavior exposed, and his old face turned even red. Logan was also stunned. "This guy is so strong. Then I have to finish him off." What mutants are most afraid of is telepathic guys who kill people invisibly. If you didn't take Chen Xi seriously before coming here, what are you afraid of the long-range mage? Of course, he is not afraid of anyone except Charles and Magneto Eric, and now he has more Chen Xi. Forget it, let's talk about it. You're looking for us, right? Why are you looking for her? There must be something wrong with this old man's grinding and chirping, and he is hiding it. Well, in that case, I'll be honest. Charles' face straightened up for a moment before he revealed his true feelings. It's like this. 2 days ago, we discovered that a strong psychic wave broke out on a highway somewhere in the suburbs. Having said this, he slowly looked at the girl. It was obvious that she was the master of the spiritual power. The girl was stunned. Why didn't she remember? After the explosion, you fainted. Charles naturally saw her doubts and said softly, could it be that his family's car accident had something to do with him? Did he kill his mother? No wonder his father wanted to drive him away. The girl was secretly saddened that she was the culprit. She was the one who killed her mother. Her tears could no longer be stopped and flowed down her face. Oh, Mom, I'm sorry, I killed you, I'm sorry. Cry, just cry. Chen Xi comforted her softly and patted her back. She couldn't keep her emotions in her heart. Holding them back would be bad. He already knew who she was, Chin Gray. The strongest host of the Phoenix power, the White Phoenix King, can mobilize the Phoenix power of all parallel universes at its peak. Of course, the Jean Grey here is just the weakest Jean Grey among countless parallel universes. This is the movie universe after all, but she is still too powerful to be solved. But when Charles saw Chen Xi's eyes and movements, he felt endless entanglement in his heart. Entangled. It was so entangled that his balls ached. Obviously, it would be too difficult for him to take away Jean Grey, however, he still has to work hard. He continued. When we discovered and found his home, Jean Grey had already disappeared. I invaded her father's mind and found out that Chin Grey had been kicked out of the house by him. But Chin Grey's awakening is out of control. It's the kind that sometimes doesn't work. It means it's not fully awakened and needs a certain amount of time to accumulate strength. So I couldn't use the brainwave amplifier to find her instantly. Mutants in this world are easy to find, but there are too many ordinary people. I found her traces only after I checked them one by one. Having said this, Charles smiled bitterly. It's just that it's all such a coincidence. I didn't expect to meet Mr. Chen Xi while you were entertaining Chin Grey. However, I still hope that Jean Grey can go back to mutant school with me to learn to grow and control the use of her own abilities. Charles is full of emotion and has sincere feelings. Chen Xi knows that his starting point is for the good of Chin Grey and the safety of this society. But Chen Xi couldn't let Charles take Chin Grey away, because Charles would kill Jean Grey and the mutant family. Charles's vision was limited to the Earth, and he did not understand the true grandeur of the universe. It would be foolish for him to try to use mortal strength to shake the power beyond the gods, even if it is just a larger fragment. So Chen Xi shook his head firmly and said to Charles decisively, I'm sorry, Charles, I can't let you take Chin Grey away. You will harm her. What? We will harm her? Our mutant school is the home of all mutants. How could we harm her? She is our family? Before the calm Charles could speak, the grumpy Wolverine couldn't help but ask a question loudly. Logan, please be quiet and don't be anxious, Charles said in a deep voice and then looked at Chen Xi, wondering why Chen Xi said this. Chin Grey, who was crying here, also stopped crying and looked at Chen Xi with tearful eyes. She only believed in him now. Seeing everyone eagerly waiting for his answer, Chen Xi smiled slightly. Charles, do you know what ability Jean Grey awakened? It should be psychic ability. What I feel is psychic fluctuations, but the specific details cannot be determined until tested. Charles answered Chen Xi's rhetorical question very rigorously. He was not sure that he, a professor, could not make rash judgments before. Yes and no, she did awaken telepathy, but she also awakened other abilities. Chen Xi said lightly, What? Second ability? Charles, Logan, and Jean Grey were all surprised. The lowest level of telepathy is level 3, usually level 4. I didn't expect that this little girl actually has a second kind. Is she another White Queen? The vast majority of mutants only have one ability, and only a handful of favored people will be given 2 or even more abilities by God. Chin Grey actually has 2 abilities. What a proud girl, is that so? We can't let her leave easily. If such a powerful combat force punishes evil and promotes good and maintains peace, wouldn't it be the nemesis of criminals? What if you follow the guy in front of you? Just forget it. Logan and Charles looked at each other and got the same answer instantly. You must not be with someone like Chen Xi, he is too dangerous. The news they got from various channels was that this guy seemed to have tricked another general and let the Hulk massacre hundreds of people who wanted to attack him. This man's cruelty was unheard of. He didn't care about human life and slaughtered people at will. If they hadn't been rivals for a while, they were afraid that Chen Xi would turn around and cooperate with Magneto, and they would have taken him down long ago. The only good news is that this guy is not a pervert, just a lunatic. He still has shortcomings and can still negotiate. The X-Men have been cooperating with some moderate high-level officials to help capture some difficult criminals. Of course, the radicals want to kill them immediately. The news they got from them is that this guy likes money very much. As long as the price is right, just look at Tony. He cheated Tony of billions, but he still saved his life several times. Therefore, as long as he can afford it at the critical moment, Chen Xi will definitely not mind taking action. Then there is the love for women. Of course, all men who can breathe are like this, but Chen Xi is particularly selective. Based on all the above information, they understood that it was okay for Jean Grey to follow Chen Xi. Jean Grey cannot be allowed to follow Chen Xi, otherwise she will be another female killer who kills without blinking an eye and is extremely powerful. A madman can't teach a female madman, so without knowing Jean Grey's second ability, Charles asked again. Of course, you can't go hard, you can only go soft, Charles said earnestly. Mr. Chen Xi, you see, Jean Grey is a mutant. She will go back to the mutant school with us and be surrounded by fellow mutants, which will be conducive to her growth. If she goes back with you, she will be surrounded by ordinary people. She will inevitably be lonely and it will be easy for her to expose herself. Our mutant school can give her better control over her abilities. Do you think this is great? The shrewd Charles looked at Jean Grey again. The final direction had to be decided by herself and her consent must be obtained, so he immediately started doing Jean Grey's work. Chin, did you know, there are many children about your age playing in our school? We can help you control your abilities without failing. You can become very powerful just like Captain America Steve and become everyone's idol. What Charles said was better than what he sang. Chen Xi looked on coldly. Just play it and see if you can make flowers come out. He is the only one who knows the mentality of Jean Grey best. She must be very repelled by the abilities she possesses. She killed her mother and asked her to join a group of superpowers. This is nonsense. Charles is inherently at a disadvantage. How can he win? Sure enough, Jean Grey shook her head vigorously with fear and disgust in her eyes. She was afraid of superpowers and all her disasters were caused by superpowers. Oh, is this really the case? Charles sighed deeply. With his insight into people's hearts, he could naturally guess this. He was just taking a chance, but unfortunately he still failed. In the original book, Charles blocked Jean Grey's memory so that she could not remember her parents at all, so that he could successfully take her away. Only later, when the Phoenix power broke out and broke through the mental prison, did she remember everything and couldn't wait to run home to visit her father. Unexpectedly, her father saw her as an enemy. Her father has also remarried and has a happy family. He has long forgotten that he has such a daughter. It's scary to think about years of suppressed emotions. So Jean Grey broke out directly and the result can be imagined. Who can stop her? A Phoenix judgment, everything turned into nothingness. After waking up, Chin escaped into the universe and started wandering. She knew full well what kind of disaster her existence would bring to the Earth. She was afraid that she would explode and directly destroy the Earth. Professor? Wolverine at the side roared, his face turned livid, and he was very unwilling to see such a result. There are too few fellow mutants, and countless people are suffering from different kinds of abuse and discrimination and suffer all kinds of suffering, waiting for them to rescue their fellow mutants. They need strong teammates to save their suffering compatriots. Charles shook his head helplessly. This is life. Unless we can force her, she does not belong to us. Originally, if Charles had not met Chen Xi, he would have taken Jean Grey away by force. Unfortunately, if he met Chen Xi, then his fate would have changed. When he appeared in this universe, the fate of many people had been derailed and headed towards unknown directions. Charles, to tell you the truth, I am not an alarmist. Eugene Gray will hurt her and you mutants will almost die and the entire Earth will almost be destroyed. Do you understand the dangers involved? Do you understand that there are many forces in the universe that you cannot understand? Chen Xi stared at them and said very seriously. What? Both of them exclaimed, obviously shocked by Chen Xi. This statement is difficult for them to accept. It is simply a fantasy. What kind of mutant can destroy them and destroy the Earth? Isn't it just a telepathic ability and an unknown ability? Facing the two people's completely disbelieving looks, Chen Xi said calmly, Qin awakened telepathy, yes, and another ability is telekinesis. These two abilities can only be said to be good. However, her third ability is no longer as simple as a mutant ability. Before he finished speaking, Wolverine suddenly stood up. Of course, Charles also wanted to stand up. They were shocked again. He shouted with wide eyes, Three, fake 3 abilities. Chen Xi nodded slightly and told them again with certainty. They are confused, but they have never seen a mutant with 3 abilities. Is this the biological daughter of God? Then what is the third ability? Charles asked impatiently. The problem must lie with the third one, an extremely terrifying and uncontrollable ability. Oh, the third one. Chen Xi sighed deeply, which made countless people go crazy. Say it quickly, I'm so worried. The grumpy Wolverine didn't even want his cigar and growled. Chin Gray was also full of sadness and the light in her eyes dimmed again. Could it be that she was a disaster-like existence? Chen Xi no longer pretended and actually looked at Chin Gray with proud eyes. She awakened the power of the Phoenix. She is the darling of the entire multiverse. Charles and the others were confused. They had never heard of the Phoenix Force, but they understood what Chen Xi said about the darling of the universe. The girl in front of me is the darling of the entire universe, so how powerful should her ability be? Maybe the Earth is really as Chen Xi said, it can be destroyed with a snap of a finger. The Earth is like a microorganism to the Earth in front of the universe. Then what kind of invincible existence is the Phoenix Force? Wolverine looked confused and asked blankly. Charles thought of a different outcome. Can such a powerful force control the future of mutants other than theirs? But is this power really uncontrollable? Charles doesn't believe it. Since it chose her, it can't be controlled. He stared deeply at Chen Xi and said, Mr. Chen Xi, this should be the gospel for us mutants. She is the future of us mutants. Is this power really uncontrollable? He suspected that Chen Xi wanted to take advantage of Qin Ji Lei, but that didn't make sense. Couldn't he just keep it secret and not tell them? It shows that Chen Xi has no ill intentions towards them. It's so contradictory. Seeing the curiosity and suspicion of the two people, Chen Xi immediately planned to educate the two indigenous people about science. He didn't think it was a last-minute idea. Since he encountered it, he just went with the flow. In the future, he will use mutants in more places. Why don't he use salted fish instead? As an infinite mutant race, mutants have unlimited potential. That is his arsenal of abilities, his fish pond. He drank the tea in the cup and said, The power of the Phoenix comes from the original universe. It was born at the beginning of all things. It is a chaotic and immortal existence, eternal but impermanent. The Phoenix Force is the sun of the universe, the embodiment of life and spiritual power in the original universe, symbolizing life and emotions. The Phoenix Force is the connection point for the spiritual souls of all things that exist or will exist in the future in the infinite multiverse. It is the creator and source of spiritual power. The Phoenix Force is the storage container and controller of the life and emotional energy of future generations throughout the infinite multiverse. A series of words such as universe, chaos, eternity, life, center, power, source, etc. frightened everyone. The things contained in this series of overviews are really too big, and they often refer to infinite multiverses. They have never heard of this term? Chen Xi just explained the origin of the Phoenix power, but he frightened the three of them into confusion. They have never heard of it, but knowing all this is an unimaginable shock. They knew that the power of this ignorant girl could destroy and recreate the universe at any time. Can this kind of power really be controlled by a mortal? Would such a power be willing to obey the orders of a mortal? No, impossible, absolutely impossible. It will only look for a powerful slave to carry its ability and do things for it. Well, it's scary to think about it. They were so frightened that they looked at each other with fear and uneasiness in their eyes. Thinking of such a power then, without thinking too much, the three people's faces became extremely pale. Snap. The hand holding the teacup was so trembling that I couldn't hold it at all, and the cup fell to the ground. Then, what about Earth? Is there still hope? Charles was trembling and stammered as he asked Chen Xi, hoping to get a glimmer of hope. He didn't know what to say when he heard that sentence about the power of life and emotion that governs the infinite multiverse, the creation and source of all spiritual power. They don't understand what the original universe is. Is our universe just a corner? Is the infinite multiverse a township level? Then they are microorganisms, right? These new terms are so terrifying that they would rather be dreaming today. Their worldview has been shaken to pieces. Hope. Of course there is, but Chen's I wouldn't tell them. Today's mission is to fool them, scare them silly, and get rid of them. Hearing Charles' weak voice, Chen's I wanted to laugh a little, but he had to hold it back. He decided to fool them first and break into the mutants from now on. Hope, it's hard to say. The future of everything is unknown. It depends on Chen herself. The complete Phoenix Force has never appeared, the largest piece of the original universe in Jean Grey's body. So when her abilities are at their peak, she can forcibly borrow the Phoenix power from other infinite multiverses. At this moment, she is the White Phoenix King. It's just that it's too difficult to reach this level of invincibility. This is like raising a goo. Countless Phoenix power hosts have fallen on the way forward, but they still keep going. They understood that this was devouring each other. If failure meant death, what about the universe they were in? Chen's I did not pause but continued. The Phoenix Force can create and manipulate the coordinates of the spatial dimension and any coordinates on the timeline to travel to and from any point in time and space. The Phoenix Force can also completely delete one or more parallel universes in a certain dimension, just like deleting files. Delete universe? Fark! The cold sweat of both Charles and Charles instantly wet their backs. This power of erasing a universe is like playing. It's just like playing with a computer. It's so casual. They fully understood the special image Chen Xi mentioned. If Jean Grey was defeated by other Phoenix Force hosts, then they would really be doomed. Maybe it would be fun to be alive and well one day, but then suddenly disappear without any response, but that would be fine. There would be no feeling at all. In fact, it is. In the comics, after Earth 94042's Dark Phoenix accidentally killed all the X-Men, she lost control and swallowed the entire universe. On Earth 81727, Jean killed the X-Men and all Shi'ar Empire guards in an instant, destroying the entire universe. Of course, this is just a comic. It can't be done in the movie. But in fact, even if the primary Phoenix power is awakened, her manipulation of matter has reached the subatomic level. When Jean Grey grows to a stronger level, she can easily change their own elements, ranging from life to the universe, and can decompose, transform, reorganize, and create at will. The Phoenix Force also has the power to control cause and effect, weave destiny, manipulate all things, and has the ability to modify reality at will regardless of the law of cause and effect. I saw in the future scene that Charles, you set up a mental cage for Jean Grey because you didn't recognize the uncontrollable explosion of the Phoenix power and thought it was her negative emotions. The result is that too many negative emotions accumulated, forming a dark and destructive personality. After the outbreak, you all died and the entire universe was swallowed up by Jean Grey. Chen Xi suddenly threw them a bolt from the blue, of course to deceive them. Plop, plop. The effect was also particularly effective. No, Charles and Wolverine were so frightened that they dropped their teacups again. Having really been deceived by Chen Xi, the tough guy King Kong was so frightened that he helped Charles regain his stability. There's nothing I can do about it, I'm getting old. Charles tremblingly took out the quick-acting heart-saving medicine from his pocket and drank it with tea. Are we cold now? Too cold. Why are we digging a hole for ourselves? After a while he calmed down and Chen Xi almost sent him away. Ha ha ha, Chen Xi burst out laughing in his heart. We are professionals, we must hold it in. Mr. Chen Xi, are you telling the truth? Charles asked desperately. Of course, what I'm talking about is the future I see, but that's just the result of you taking away Jean Grey. Chen Xi looked at them with determination. Can't you see my sincerity? Okay, but what if I don't do that? There seems to be a trace of lucky fantasy. Charles feels that he has received enlightenment about the future. Can he change it? Unexpectedly, Chen Xi glanced at him with contempt. What are you thinking about? If she can't correct her ability, she would have exploded and killed you instantly. Yes, he. Charles was despised by Chen Xi and couldn't help but smile. Okay, no more nonsense, I have to take her back. You can go and do whatever you want. If you want to see me in the future, please make an appointment with my secretary in advance. This is my secretary's number. As he spoke, he put a business card on the table. There were only 2 people in the company, him and number 18. This guy shamelessly gave Charles the number 18. The spectrum was so big and they even made an appointment. Wolverine was speechless. Did they know that there were only 2 people in this guy's company? Ignoring the 2 men who were slightly twitching at the corners of their mouths, Chen Xi continued to talk nonsense based on experience. If you ask me for help in the future, don't ask if it's less than 100 million. My appearance fee is very high, do you know that? Okay, I have to go, see you later. After saying that, he stretched out his hand and wanted to shake hands with them and say goodbye. There was no other way. They stopped talking. Charles and the 2 had no choice but to extend their hands and say a friendly farewell. Logan, how credible do you think this guy's words are? Watching Chen Xi leave, Charles looked at the tall and short figures outside the window with deep eyes and murmured. I think half and half. If he doesn't know how to be so bluffing, I don't believe he can make up those new terms on the spot. But we can't believe everything that guy says. He must be lying to us somewhere. This guy has a very purposeful purpose in what he says and does. From saving Tony, cheating Tony, killing John, subduing the Hulk and killing Ross, etc., they all have a strong purpose. The Logans are mature and sophisticated and can naturally analyze important information from various seemingly unrelated events. Oh, I think so. I have to believe it, not entirely. Fortunately, this guy seems to be quite friendly to us mutants. No, when you say that this guy must have some purpose, it seems like you should be wary of him. Is he trying to make us happy in exchange for money? It's not impossible. Charles took a selfie of his smooth forehead. As soon as Logan said this, he suddenly thought that this guy must have some purpose for them. Chen Xi didn't know that Charles and Logan had just analyzed it and figured out his purposeful thoughts. It's just that they can't guess what Chen Xi's purpose is until they die. At this moment, Chen Xi was in a silly mood. It could be said that the whole person was immersed in joy. Ding, the plot character Professor X Charles has been detected. Does the host extract his abilities or items? This extraction requires 1 million points. It must be extracted. Ding, 1 million points have been deducted and are being withdrawn. Please wait a moment, host. 1 minute later. Ding, the telepathy ability has been extracted. Is the host integrated? Merge. Ding, fusion has begun. Host, please wait. As soon as he finished speaking, Chen Xi knew that another piece of gene had been loaded into his body, giving him another mutant ability. Moreover, he has an unpreventable telepathic ability which can invade the brain without anyone noticing and steal and control others. Ding, the fusion is complete. The moment it was completed, Chen Xi's brain felt as if some nerve had been opened. It felt extremely cool and the world became clear. Quietly pull out a thread of spiritual power to connect to a random sparrow in the parking lot and quietly read through its past. Of course, apart from eating and sleeping, what can little animals do? Chen Xi's mental power was already very strong, so he naturally became proficient in it in a short time, one after another, and after a dozen or so he had mastered it. But he didn't dare to find an innocent, ordinary person for the first time. It would be bad if he accidentally turned the human machine into an idiot. However, it was only limited to browsing memories. Controlling this aspect was still at the level of a toddler, but he was not in a hurry. It took Charles more than 10 years to control people at will. With his talent, it would only take 2 or 3 years, right? Of course, except for special circumstances, he will not control people easily, which is simply too boring, and many strong-willed people cannot control them at all. Okay, let's continue with the system. The order is issued and the system continues to operate. Ding, the plot character Wolverine Logan has been detected. Whether the host can extract his abilities or items, this extraction requires 300,000 points. Extract. Ding, 300,000 points have been deducted and are being withdrawn. Please wait a moment, host. Soon, the extraction was successful. Ding, the self-healing ability has been extracted. Is the host integrated? Fusion. Ding, fusion has begun. Host, please wait. Ding, it has been detected that the host has self-healing ability and the two self-healing abilities have begun to merge. Time passed bit by bit and the waiting time for this fusion became a little longer, but the effect was reflected bit by bit. Ding, the fusion is complete. When the fusion was completed, Chen Xi felt that his vitality was incredibly strong. He took out a knife and slashed his arm hard and something shocking happened. Brother, this is, oh my god, immortality. Qin Gray covered her mouth, opened her eyes wide and looked at Chen Xi with a smile on her face in shock. Under her gaze, the wound opened by the knife healed as she moved it without even a second. She was so dumbfounded, could he die? She even wondered if cutting off his head would make another one grow. Haha, this effect is not bad, hee. Chen Xi is also very satisfied with the result. The two self-healing abilities are so explosive. What about integrating Deadpool's self-healing ability? What about the saber-toothed tiger, the self-healing ability of Apocalypse, and the ability to devour the dead female Yuriko? How can he be resurrected without even a single gene? Unless the universe is wiped out, who can kill him? When the time comes, just cut off a piece of meat, freeze it, and throw it into the system space, hee. Let's see who can kill him. His life is very valuable. For Chen Xi, life is the most important and everything else is not as important as life. Death is like a lamp going out and everything ends. The two major abilities are combined again, which is so cool. What are you afraid of? Have nothing to fear. System, how many years do I have to live now? Chen Xi is particularly curious about how long he can live. Immortality is too simple for him. Ding, the basic system estimates that a host with a frost giant royal physique can naturally live for 5,000 years. Coupled with the super ability of the two self-healing abilities, it is conservatively estimated that it can live for 10,000 years. Can he live for such a long time? For now, time is worthless to him, so there is no need to think about it deliberately. The dream I once had, immortality, is no longer my pursuit. System, open the properties panel, I want to take a look. Ding, the properties panel has been opened, the host can check it by himself. Host, Chen Xi, age 22 level, sub-heavenly father level physique, frost giant physique ability, water control level A 10 km range, ice type S level minus 150 degrees Celsius, fire control level C 500 degrees. Carbon temperature transformation, second to original Edmund and vibranium, teleportation level A, earth range, super speed movement a level 1000 km per second. Super self-healing S level, any damage is healed within 1 second, telepathy level A. Items, time stone, space stone, reality stone, power stone, mind stone, soul stone. N pieces and umbrella hive factory. Subordinates, Android number 18, Terminator TX points, 10.4 million points. Bioenergy, 3850 points. Seeing in the attribute panel, after gaining both mental and physical progress, I crossed a natural chasm in 1 step. From the Earth level to the sub-heavenly father level, this is not only an improvement in comprehensive strength, but also a leap in life. Countless mutants, superpowers, magicians, and mutants have been stuck on this Earth level for their whole lives, and he can easily span a few weeks. This is not a miracle, it is the result of his tirelessness and hard work. Yes, that's it. Just looking at more and more abilities, Chen Xi's doubts or worries are becoming more and more. I am so awesome and have more and more abilities. Can this body carry so many genes? A few abilities don't matter. If hundreds of abilities are added to him in the future, will he still be a human being? Or will his genes not collapse? Everything is the same, there is always an upper limit, right? Don't push yourself to death when the time comes. System, I have so many genes, will it happen that my genes collapse and I will strangle myself to death? He quickly asked the system. This was related to his life, he had to ask clearly. The host's worry is not wrong and it is also very correct. The genetic endurance of mortals is limited and too many genes will collapse. However, the host accidentally extracted two self-healing abilities and fused them into the body. Such powerful abilities can naturally solve the dangers faced by the body. According to the system, he will definitely extract the self-healing ability. After all, there will definitely be an intersection. Chen Xi couldn't help feeling that he was lucky. The short-sighted cat met the blind mouse and it was a mistake. System, why doesn't it prompt that the points that changed Qin Gray's fate are recorded? When he took away Qin Gray, shouldn't it have directly changed Qin Gray's fate? When he got Wanda, wasn't it just a matter of one step? Host, Jean Grey's situation is complicated. She must wait until the host prevents the birth of her second destructive personality before she can be considered completely changed. Otherwise, she will still escape the Earth and return to her original orbit. Chen Xi understood that there was such a reason, but he was not in a hurry. I can't eat hot tofu in a hurry. Everything has a process. What's his will always be his. When he saw Qin Gray, he also understood that the current X-Men timeline was the timeline after the future. It's just that everything after the timeline has been changed, everything has been overturned, and after the integration, a new parallel movie universe was born. It can also be said that nothing happened. No wonder everyone only remembers the Cuban crisis because other major mutant events did not happen at all. After combing through all the clues again, Chen Xi finally understood now. The timeline of the Avengers has not changed much. The time of the X-Men is a brand new timeline. No major events have happened after the Cuban crisis. Charles and Logan's memories of Jean Grey were all mysteriously erased by time. Let's go home first, then follow me and take you back to meet your sisters. Chen Xi felt relaxed now. He had sorted out the most important timeline and felt confident. Okay, sisters, brother, do you have other sisters? Qin Gray was overjoyed and felt much happier. After all, men and women are different and only girls know any little secrets. Hey, you'll know when the time comes, let's go. Chen Xi smiled mysteriously, didn't say anything and drove towards Tony's home with the accelerator. Although Qin Gray was full of doubts, Chen Xi was so mysterious that she couldn't ask any more questions. He obviously wanted to give her a surprise. While chatting, Qin Gray suddenly asked Chen Xi about her own future of destroying the universe, which was really scary. Look at your little hands, look at your little arms and legs, don't you look like such a female devil? Brother, you said that I destroyed the universe. According to what your Dragon Kingdom said, it was you who calculated it. Are you sure you really calculated it like this? Why don't I believe that I have such a powerful power? Qin Gray asked in disbelief. She was too weak. Chen Xi said with a smile while driving, there is such a saying in our dragon country. Don't dare to calculate all the hexagrams for fear of the impermanence of heaven. Don't dare to have deep love for fear of a big dream. You can't believe in fate, you can't believe it, you can't achieve perfection in anything, so what I said is only possible, the future is still in your own hands. Chen Xi tried his best to explain in English, but the culture of the Dragon Kingdom was so profound that even Qin Jelle was confused when he explained so hard. She only understood that fate is unpredictable, and it is fundamental that you must control your own destiny. Qin Gray nodded in understanding, fell into deep thought and looked out the window in silence. Silly girl, Chen Xi sighed softly in his heart. She is so stupid in the future. She obviously wants to cling to her destiny, but it backfires. Asking but not getting it, giving up but not being able, getting but not hesitating. She forgave everyone, but she never forgave herself no matter what, let herself go, reconciled with herself, and finally chose to escape from the universe. In this life I will put an end to all the suffering and torture for you. Diddy. With silence, Jean Grey arrived at Tony's home in less than half an hour. She just pressed the horn a few times, but the door did not open automatically. Where's Jarvis? Isn't this guy very active? What happened today? There was a power outage. Thump, thump, thump. After a while, Chen Xi saw Banner swinging around and manually opening the garage door for him. Hey Banner, what's going on? Where's Jarvis? The power's out, he can't even control the garage. Chen Xi stuck his head out of the car and shouted to Banner. What? Jarvis was attacked and now he is imprisoned. Tony didn't even eat lunch, so he is still messing around. Banner also responded to Chen Xi in a cheesy manner. He was secretly having fun now and he deserved it. This guy has been bragging all day long. His arrogance has finally been punished for his arrogance, right? Has he been punished? When Chen Xi heard this, he suddenly realized that Jarvis had been locked up in a dark room by the Red Queen. It turns out that I am the culprit. Hee, that's it. Chen Xi smiled awkwardly. Hee, well done, let him have a headache. He can't even use the steel armor now, not to mention how depressed he is. The brave Iron Man has become Scrap Iron Man, and his fans have estimated that they won't be able to see him again in the next 2 days. Finally, he didn't have to watch him flying around all day long to show off. Banner was particularly excited and said gloatingly, "The previous war let everyone know that Tony Stark was Iron Man himself." His number of fans skyrocketed to tens of millions, and Stark Industries' stock price continued to rise for half a month. Twice as high as he was at his peak, Tony made a very good comeback and his net worth skyrocketed. With both fame and fortune, he has become more and more swollen recently. He enjoys being a superhero and enjoying people's cheers and screams. He also holds parties at night to make celebrities and sweethearts. It's just that Banner is boring and not good at talking, and the women are all here for Tony's money. There are not many women paying attention to him at all, but Banner is very depressed. No, Tony was unlucky and he was very happy. Ignoring the annoying Banner, Chen Xi led Chin Gray and got out of the car and walked in. Wanda and number 18 happened to be there. "My dear, where did you kidnap this little sister? Isn't she so cute?" Wanda spotted Chin Gray at a glance. Chen Xi couldn't help but rolled his eyes. "Can you speak? Why did you ask me to kidnap you? If you can't speak, speak less." His name is Chin Gray. He was abandoned by his father for some reasons and will live with us from now on. When Wanda heard it, it seemed as if her soul resonated and she suddenly thought that she was like this too. "Baby, you have suffered. From now on you will stay with your sister. She will take care of you. We are family." Wanda, who felt the same, hugged Chin Gray and said softly with red eyes, "Women are all emotional animals," and she exploded all afternoon. Chin Gray also seemed to feel the warmth of home and the care of her family. Tears that had been tense for 2 days burst into her eyes and she burst into tears. For a moment, the two most powerful women in the Marvel Universe hugged each other and burst into tears. This scene was a bit weird. Chen Xi quickly took out his mobile phone, click, and secretly took pictures of this historic scene. "Oh, you wretched master, I despise you." Number 18 saw everything clearly and snorted disdainfully. "Snap, go up and slap her on the butt. Damn it, why don't you go to the house to uncover the tiles if you don't hit her for 2 days? Later, let her have a taste of what is called the rate of fire of a human anti-aircraft cannon. I'll deal with you tonight and let you challenge the master's authority," Chen Xi said fiercely. "I'm afraid of you, 2 against 1. Who is afraid of who? No." 18 glared at him triumphantly. "Come on, these women are really lawless. They need him to shake up their power from time to time. Let's stack up tonight. As for now, let's forget it. This is a special show for women, big and small, and he should stay away." After dragging Banner, this idiot, to Tony's underground research room, he immediately saw Tony with a frown on his face, holding a cup of coffee and pretending to be a thinker. "Hey, Mr. Iron Man Tony Stark, do you have chicken fever or are you too crazy and someone slapped you with a brick?" As soon as the depressed Tony heard this taunting and yawning voice, he knew who it was without having to guess. "Get out of here. Do you understand that people are not to be torn apart by hardships? Do you have any qualities? Do you have any compassion?" Tony roared wildly and wanted to strangle him to death. "Hey, what's going on? Haven't you been enjoying a lot of scenery and beautiful women these past few weeks? Look, everyone on the internet is discussing whether superhero Tony Stark is the greatest hero besides Steve." Chen Xi pretended not to notice and continued teasing, the smile in his eyes overflowing. "What does it mean to have unlimited glory? I just made a little money and gained some fans. It's not worth mentioning." I don't know if this guy really can't hear it or he's pretending not to be able to hear it, but he's not ashamed of it but proud of it. A shameless person is invincible, and Tony has completely mastered the essence of being invincible if a person is humble. Under Chen Xi's contemptuous gaze, Tony smiled sarcastically. Suddenly, he remembered something. It seemed that a private equity fund had madly acquired their shares when Stark Industries' stocks plummeted, so that it now controlled 15% of their shares in Stark Industries. Thinking about it, he felt depressed. Suddenly his eyes rolled and an idea flashed through him and he came to his senses. I saw Tony staring at Chen Xi with stern eyes and growled in disbelief. "Fack, did you secretly acquire shares of Stark Industries? I remember when you saved me you said you could understand the past and predict the future. I didn't believe it at the time. It wasn't until later that I said Obadiah Stan would attack me that I believed it. Now that our retail investors are being acquired wildly by a private equity fund when the stock price plummets, someone must have known about it in advance, and I can't think of anyone who knows about it except you. Only you can figure all this out, Fark. You are so insidious and cunning you actually purchased it secretly." The more Tony thought about it, the more he understood, and the more he thought about it, the angrier he became. He is just a pig-brained person. He didn't think of such a simple thing until he saw Chen Xi. Well, Chen Xi took his money and bought his company's stocks. Now this guy has actually become the second largest shareholder of their company. This is really insidious. Sold his Tony and helped him pay for it himself. Tony, who thought he was a genius, broke his guard and his mentality exploded. Seeing Tony jumping up and down and yelling loudly, Chen Xi shrugged. "You can't blame me. I am a good person, I am a positive person, but you don't believe me." The more Chen Xi sees Tony feeling uncomfortable, the more excited he gets. Happiness is based on the pain of others, so hey, Tony, I have some good news for you. Looking at the smiling Chen Xi, Tony didn't know what kind of medicine was sold in this gourd, but it was not a good thing at first glance. Chen Xi always cheated on him and was full of bad news. What kind of bad news was this? You could only listen to what he said in reverse. Although his instinct told him not to listen, he still couldn't help his curiosity. "Haha, what good news can you have? Say it quickly if you have something to say, and say it quickly if you have any farts." After saying that, he pricked up his ears and looked excited. "Cut!" Chen Xi glanced at this guy with disdain and said no, he was being honest, right? He continued, "The good news is I know where Jarvis is being held, right? What, you know?" Tony was startled, then overjoyed, and urged, "Speak quickly, tell me who was attacked by Jarvis, who is so capable." "Don't worry, I have some bad news, do you want to hear it?" Chen Xi said calmly, "The fun hasn't begun yet." "Bad news, what bad news?" Tony tensed up. K, it's really not good, take a sip of coffee to calm down. "Hey, the bad news is that I happen to know the person who locked up Jarvis. He said it would be difficult to do without 1 billion, puff." As soon as these words came out, Tony spit out the coffee he had just taken 2 sips of. K, what kind of big black batch is this? 10 billion? He didn't have time to wipe his mouth and immediately exclaimed. Suddenly he remembered something again and stared at Chen Xi. "Fake squid, are you talking about your friends? Where did you get your friends from? You guys have a saying called making friends out of nothing. I've heard it before. Don't fool me with your friends. This friend is you, right? I can't think of anyone else who could be so dark except you. That's why you would deceive me like this. If you don't say 1 billion, you don't even have 100 million, you think so." Tony sneered at Chen Xi's shady behavior. "Grandma, you're a jerk, it's only 1 billion, why don't you go and grab it? Robbery is not as fast as your money. I went there and you really thought of me as an ATM machine, big dog. Don't worry, why do you think so? It's really not me, isn't it just 1 billion? You, Tony Stark, are short of this little money." "No, I'm short of money, don't try to rip me off." Regarding Chen Xi's sugar-coated bombs, he was respectful and insensitive, blocking and intercepting the rebound. "Okay," my friend said, "if you are so uncooperative it will be very difficult for him, so just keep Jarvis locked up." Chen Xi shrugged. "You're not in a hurry and I'm not in a hurry either, let's take our time." But he still had to give Tony some face. If he still didn't surrender after 3 days, then let him go. "After all, my family always eats his, uses his, and lives his, so you can't be too stingy. If you want to kill me, there's no way," Tony said harshly. "No big deal if I make another one, won't it still work the same?" "Okay, let's see how tough you are," Chen Xi said nonchalantly. Suddenly he remembered something again. By the way, I'll use another room. I'll move back tomorrow. The doors and windows have been repaired there. As you wish, there's plenty of room. Don't delay the great genius of Tony Stark from doing his work. After Tony finished speaking, he drove Chen Xi and Banner out and he had to immerse himself in work. It's up to you. I wish you good luck. Chen Xi was just teasing him. How could he want to blackmail him? As for Jarvis, Chen Xi didn't believe that Tony could really give up this old friend. Comrade Howard Stark is obsessed with inventions and picking up girls. Although he has restrained himself, he still enjoys it. For Tony, in his childhood, the communication between the two was extremely limited, let alone playing together. He grew up with Jarvis, the loyal butler of the Stark family, accompanying him throughout his childhood. In his childhood, he was only accompanied by Jarvis. He sent him to school, played games with him, and chatted with him. It is not an exaggeration to say that Jarvis was half of his father. After Jarvis died, Tony named his artificial intelligence after Jarvis. This shows how important Jarvis is to Tony, and these little feelings cannot be replaced. Chen Xi no longer thought about it. He had already come to the living room and saw that Wanda and Chin Gray had finished crying. The three of them were chatting enthusiastically. When they saw Chen Xi walking proudly and smiling, Chin Gray glared at him with an unkind look. "Brother, you are such a scumbag. You actually have two different things to do. I really despise your character. What is going on? Why does my little cutie have the tendency to become a violent loli? I just left for a few minutes. What happened?" Chen Xi glanced back and forth. The problem must be with Wanda, the little girl, and number 18, the royal sister. "Humph, are you slandering my character in front of Chin? It will make you both feel better later." After threatening them, he shamelessly squeezed into the middle of the house and hugged them, extremely shameless. "Damn it, I've never seen you so shameless." Wanda is helpless when she encounters this situation. "No, it's already like this. You keep slandering my glorious image, then I don't have any image anymore. Why do I care? I must be following the image you set for me." Gagging is his specialty. "If you are thick-skinned, you will get an extra piece of meat. When others are pretending to be serious, I have to pretend not to be serious." Chen Xi's side was full of life, but the Time Variation Administration somewhere in the multiverse was unhappy. At this time, Loki had already joined forces with the female Loki Sylvie and attacked many Time Guards. The entire Time Variation Administration deployed almost half of its power to stop them. But at this moment, they discovered that the universe where Chen Xi lived had completely changed. The bifurcation is getting higher and higher, which shows that Chen Xi's actions at this time are getting bigger and bigger, and the impact is getting bigger and bigger. While they were worried about the Lokis destroying the Time Variation Administration, they were also worried that Chen Xi would really create an independent parallel universe. Listening to the reports from his subordinates, the chief judge, who was the only one who knew the truth, had a severe headache. One person was not enough to disrupt the situation and another one was needed. She also wanted to find out who the Time Variation Management Bureau was. She had already had a clue, but now it was disrupted again. Kang the Conqueror or Mephisto. "It's really one head and two big ones. Come on, go to Chen Xi's universe now and cause him some trouble. Don't let him move too fast." The justice shouted into the air, but surprisingly, someone responded to her immediately. "Sir, what should we do?" The justice thought for a while and said, "Let's go to the year 1973 in some abandoned universe. Catch Bolivar and don't forget his apprentice Stryker, help them arrange identities, implant their memories and throw them into Chen Xi's universe. Time Guardian. Yes, Your Honor." Then he disappeared. At this moment, she was the only one left in the lonely office. She had a headache and rubbed her temples, her face full of exhaustion. There are so many variables. One Loki plus a female Loki would give her a headache, but the key is that there are a lot of Lokis coming out. There are all kinds of gays, including old men, teenagers, crocodiles, N**G**S, and N**G**S. None of them are good and they are all trying desperately to escape. "Damn Chen Xi, if I don't cause trouble for you, you must keep causing trouble for me. Damn it!" This woman almost exploded in anger. According to her plan, by secretly giving Loki some push, she could drive Loki and the two of them to decipher the true face of the Time Variation Administration step by step. Loki is in the clear and she is in the dark. She can reveal the secrets of the mastermind behind it before he finds out. Who knows, Chen Xi's side is so smooth it's like his back garden, just let him play. Such wanton destruction of the timeline really disrupts their plans and will soon attract the attention of others. He must be slowed down and his balance must not be disturbed. Just wait, when I have my hands free I will push you into the doomsday timeline. The justice gritted his teeth and said, her plan does not allow any problems. In a certain time and space in 1973, this is an abandoned timeline. There are too many parallel universes like Marvel, and they will all enter a countdown to death for some reason in the future. Reversing the future timeline, Quicksilver rescued his father, Magneto Eric. But at this moment, there was an argument on the plane because of serious differences between the two. What about your abilities? The medicines used to treat my spine affected my DNA. You sacrifice your ability to walk, Eric was dumbfounded. I sacrifice my ability to get a good night's sleep, Charles replied matter-of-factly. Magneto was very surprised to find that Charles had lost his powers. When he heard Charles's weird reason, he was simply frightened by such a decision. What do you know? Eric yelled, I paid a lot too. Charles shook his head. Save it, Eric, you can't make up for what you've done. Magneto smiled disdainfully. You have no idea what I've done. I know you took away the most important thing from me. Charles stared at him. No, you have no idea what I'm going to do, Eric yelled. Hearing this, Charles's eyes also changed and he stared at Eric with his eyes widened. Perhaps you should have protected them earlier, Eric continued. As if being told an unacceptable pain point, Charles stood up abruptly, rolled up his sleeves and was about to fight. If you want to fight, come on. Charles grabbed Eric with great emotion, stared at Eric hysterically and shouted, You abandoned me. You took her away and abandoned me again. Eric seemed indifferent to Charles' loud questioning. It seemed like the calm before the storm. He stared at Charles and said word by word, Angel, Red Devil, Emma, Sonic. As his words fell, emotions exploded bit by bit and the powerful magnetic field caused the plane to tremble violently. One can imagine how terrifying Magneto's inner pain was at this moment. Brothers and sisters of mutants, they're all dead. At this moment, Magneto was so excited that tears of pain and sadness burst out of his eyes. The uncontrollable and terrifying magnetism caused the plane to swing from side to side, and it seemed that the plane would crash in the next second. Countless people were experimented on and disemboweled. At this moment, Charles was thrown around and his eyes were filled with fear. Eric, the plane was about to lose control. Charles was so anxious that he shouted, trying to stop Eric from continuing to explode, but Eric remained indifferent. He was still blushing and yelling ferociously. Where were you then, Charles? We should have protected them. When your countrymen need you, where are you? You and Hank are hiding. You are pretending you are not mutants. Charles was thrown around and he was a little overwhelmed when he heard the questions. You're the one who left us all behind. Eric seemed to use all his strength to vent his anger, pain, unwillingness, and sadness. The resentment seemed to have dissipated and he fell silent. The plane returned to normal and Charles left as if fleeing. Wolverine then clung to the table and put it down. What a thrilling scene. Eric, you and I will both be survivors in the future. By the way, please clean up this place. The plane fell into silence again. Here in Paris, there is a luxurious club where there is feasting and entertainment and life is going on all the time. A Vietnamese general drank happily, laughed wantonly, and hugged each other. They all came to attend the meeting to celebrate the end of the war and the treatment of mutants. But at this moment, the monkey found a beautiful woman sitting alone at the bar then. When he saw the color, he walked over instantly. He was going to be a hunter. But who is the hunter? Who is the prey? Senior hunters often appear as prey, so he is doomed to tragedy. After bringing this beauty back to the room, the anxious Yue Hao poured a glass of wine and said in an extremely vulgar manner, Then let me see more of you, baby. Take off your clothes and see, hey, hey, hey. After saying that, he smiled obscenely, not knowing that his death was imminent. The blonde beauty slowly opened her coat and the exposed clothes slowly turned into scary blue scales in the monkey's frightened eyes. She is Mystique. She can be called a pervasive super killer and agent. Mystique smiled half-heartedly and said, "What's wrong, honey? Don't you think I'm so beautiful?" After saying that with lightning speed, he raised his leg high and kicked the monkey on the neck. Then push and push hard. While chasing and laughing, the monkey stared wide-eyed and struggled hard to get away, but in the end he could only stare at Mystique with unwilling eyes and fell down. Mystique picked up his ID and smiled brightly. The assassination operation has begun. She wants to kill this perverted guy and stop his human experiments on mutants. The next day, Mystique transformed into a Vietnamese monkey and sneaked into the large conference room. At this time, the dwarf Bolivar took out the instrument. The genetic navigation system can lock the target 800 meters away and will only launch an attack after the target is determined. With it, collateral damage will be a thing of the past, like now I turn it on and the system won't boot. However, the moment Bolivar opened the test, the instrument rang. "Unless there are mutants here," Bolivar said in a low voice, and everyone's expressions changed wildly at this moment. When Bolivar slowly moved the genetic testing navigation system across everyone, it stopped at the Vietnamese monkey. Drop, drop, drop. A rapid alarm sounded. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the Vietnamese monkey that Mystique had transformed into, and they were talking in confusion. There must be something wrong with it. Mystique forced herself to explain in order to get through. Bolivar looked at her calmly and said confidently, "My inventions never malfunction. What are you?" At this time, everyone stood up suddenly and countless bodyguards in black rushed in, pointing guns at Mystique. 7 or 8 bodyguards swarmed up and grabbed her directly. However, Mystique's physical fitness and fighting skills were not something that these bodyguards could compete with. He threw him back with a backhand, grabbed another person, and then hit that person on the head with an elbow, knocking down both of them directly. At the same time, the senior executives attending the meeting fled in a hurry. Only Bolivar was hiding in the corner and observing. Unexpectedly, Mystique slid out from under the conference table, kicked away the last bodyguard with her feet and took away his pistol. Whoosh. Mystique immediately aimed at Bolivar, preparing to kill the perverted dwarf with one shot. "Raven!" At this time, Magneto and others appeared and shouted. Mystique was attracted to turn around. At this time, the fallen bodyguard instantly tied her up with electric shock wire. Mystique was subdued instantly and fell twitching. Magneto saw this and rescued Raven with a wave of his hand. Magneto suddenly thought that the final result would be that Raven's blood helped mankind achieve a super leap and produced the Sentinel robot. Cruel and ruthless, he decided to kill Raven, sacrifice her, and save thousands of mutants. Whoosh, Magneto grabbed the pistol and the pistol automatically flew into his hand and was pointed at Raven. Charles yelled, "Eric, what are you doing? Protect our future." "Forgive me, Raven, as long as you live, we are all in danger." At this moment, Magneto became expressionless and hard-hearted. "Charles, use your ability to stop him," Mystique said nervously to Charles. "No, he can't do it." After Magneto finished speaking, he was ready to shoot, but a scene different from the one in the movie appeared. 2 dim yellow light gates suddenly appeared, and the flow of time within a radius of 100 meters instantly slowed down 16 times. Everyone was almost motionless, with their movements and eyes turning in an extremely dry and mechanical manner. Charles and the others were confused. "Who are these guys? What kind of force are they? Are they mutants? If it's a mutant team, that's a bit strong, right? Are time mutants or fast-moving mutants like Quicksilver? They have black question marks on their faces. They can't understand, they can't figure it out." However, no one would explain to them at all. The visitor quickly took out a machine and scanned the dwarf Bolivar. The information comparison is correct. He is Bolivar Trask, the inventor of the Sentinel robot. After comparing, a time guard turned back to the guy who looked like a team leader and nodded. "Very well, put a time collar on him and don't let this cunning guy slip away." Captain Time quickly issued the order, and the time guard conveniently added a circle of shame to Bolivar. Of course he was confused, his eyes were full of panic. He was just inventing a weapon. Are all the mutants so strong? Then why do they produce a crappy sentry robot? Just surrender. At this time, Captain Time saw the twitching comrade Wolverine Logan, because when he saw the twitching bodyguard, he instantly thought of his transformed self. Wolverine's mind is extremely unstable, as if he will wake up at any time and interrupt the time and space transmission. Haha, this guy is interesting, take him with you, he is just right for our Time Variation Management Bureau, he has near-immortal self-healing ability. Joining our time team will definitely be a big help. Captain Time looked at Logan with interest, then waved his hand, and immediately a guy put the circle of shame directly around Logan's neck. Ha ha ha, good, not bad, it's a worthwhile trip. By the way, let's go. This dwarf's apprentice is also more cruel and ruthless. He is suitable to go against Chen Xi. Captain Time laughed. The mission went somewhat smoothly. That is to say, Kyuhyun is not here, otherwise they would not be able to handle it alone. Soon, under the unwilling eyes of Charles and others, they teleported away, directly carrying Bolivar and Logan. Time also returned to normal after they left. Fark, who are they? What should we do if they take away Logan and Bolivar? Magneto roared angrily and punched the air repeatedly. He was obviously very angry and all his plans were disrupted. The other party obviously has a clear purpose and comes and goes without a trace. It must be a powerful organization. Charles chose to analyze calmly and did not become as angry as Magneto. I think this is not necessarily a bad thing, at least it is the same as our purpose to stop Bolivar. He had no clue now and could only wait and see what happened. Everyone was helpless and hurriedly left while the chaotic crowd was in chaos. In the time and space of 2023, Logan suddenly woke up and his consciousness transmission was directly interrupted. I was captured by them, captured. We failed. Wolverine Logan, who woke up, yelled and sat up. Oh, then we failed. Is this our fate? The elderly Charles looked at the waking Wolverine and murmured sadly, is this the fate of their mutants, doomed to be destroyed? Is the whole family destroyed? Destiny. How unfair you are, why do you treat us mutants like this? What sin do we have? We just want to live. Why are they not willing to give us such a small amount of charity? The old Magneto Eric fell to his knees and angrily questioned the dark sky. The dark sky is like their destiny, without any light. At this moment, everyone became gloomy and gloomy. Thick sadness filled everyone's heads, making them breathless. The demise of the mutants was so close that they could not stop it. They are the last hope, and this hope is about to be dashed. Sudden, a large number of sentry robots melted like snow one by one, and the sky was filled with life again. What? Oh my God, didn't we fail? Ha ha ha, God will not destroy us mutants. God must have seen our pity and sent others to capture Bolivar and Stryker. Haha, I'm saved. Light spreads across the world again and the Earth recovers. As everyone cheered and celebrated in ecstasy, their memories were slowly erased. However, Wolverine disappeared in panic and turned into a ray of light as if he had never been there and no one remembered him. All history begins again and a new chapter begins. They don't know that all this is just the normal operation of the Time Variation Administration. After capturing the dwarf Bolivar, the time team rushed to Stryker's location non-stop. For them, time and space are not problems. You can travel around the timeline at will and teleport through space at will. Stryker, who was serving in the military, was only a captain now, but he was also a technical soldier. He was arrested while doing experiments in the laboratory. This group of time guards rushed in without anyone noticing and immediately triggered the alarm. The group filed in with guns and live ammunition and started shooting without hesitation. Ta-ta-ta, ta-ta-ta, bang bang bang, bang bang bang. The bottles and cans in the laboratory shattered with the sound, but during the chaos, all the scientific researchers fled in a hurry and screams were heard. But the Time Guardians dropped a device calmly and a transparent wall formed around them. The bullets poured on the wall without any reaction, without any ripples at all. Come on, Comrade Stryker, you're under arrest. Captain Time calmly walked up to Stryker and said amidst the hail of bullets. Oh, fake squid, who are you? Which department? How dare you arrest an officer without any evidence? When Stryker heard the word arrested, he thought it was some official agency and he immediately became excited. What organization dares to come into contact with my military? Isn't that asking for abuse? However, the captain of the time team didn't hang him at all. He just hit him with a Pegasus meteor fist and the guy took off directly. Fake, what is it? Take it away. Captain Time cursed and kicked him hard again without getting angry. Yes, Captain. When the subordinates came up, they would talk loudly again and then put a circle of shame on him. In the horrified eyes of everyone who had seen a ghost, the Time team stepped into the portal and left, leaving only a mess and frightened soldiers. In this way, the unlucky trio, Wolverine, Logan, Dwarf Bolivar, and the spiritual boy Stryker, were taken away to be brainwashed. Time Variation Management Bureau, the Time team leader escorted the three people to see the chief judge. Huh, Roger, what's going on? Why did you capture Wolverine too? The justice was very surprised. Did Wolverine commit a crime? Hey, Your Excellency, this guy seems to me to be a very qualified Time Guardian, so I brought him here. Roger chuckled, scratched his head and said shamelessly, okay, if you catch me, I'll catch you. The attitude of the justices is obvious. They are used to being aloof and trying anyone. Bolivar and Stryker were so frightened when they came here that they didn't dare to breathe for fear of being killed. They saw a disobedient guy just tinkering with him and he turned into light and disappeared. Wolverine Logan is slightly better. He has experienced too many storms and waves and his psychological quality is naturally much stronger, but his heart is still fuzzy and the unknown represents fear. This time, the chief judge didn't even bother to interrogate them and directly convicted them. Logan, you traveled through time and space and changed the established history. Now this court sentences you to serve the Time Variation Administration for life. Bolivar Trask, as a time criminal, escaped from the established track. This court sentences you to death. William Stryker, as a time criminal who escaped death. This court sentences you to death. Okay, take them all down. The justice waved his hand and told them to get lost. Of course, this was just for show for some people to see. No, I'm not convinced. I want to appeal. Yes, that's right, I want to appeal. Bolivar and Stryker looked unconvinced and asked for an appeal. Appeal, is there such a thing? Okay, take it down. The chief judge said expressionlessly with contempt in his eyes. What else could two mortals think of this? No, I don't accept it. Bang. As a result, Stryker was elbowed by the Time Guard as soon as he finished yelling, almost knocking out the gall. Don't accept it, I'll beat you to death. Bolivar shrank his head when he saw this. He was going to die, and it would not be worthwhile if he had to be beaten. Wolverine is the old god here. Anyway, it's not work anywhere. It's not bad here, so novel and interesting. I have lived for too long, and I have long been tired of my previous life. It is not very interesting to change my living and working environment now. The three people who accepted their fate were quickly separated. The Time Variation Administration directly erased the memories of Bolivar and Stryker and reimplanted their memories again. They fabricated all their experiences in Chen Xi's universe and instilled in them both the Sentinel robot technology that would only be available in 2023. To deal with Chen Xi, just cause him some trouble, hold him back for a while, and don't make progress too fast. Your Excellency, everything is ready. Bolivar and Stryker have reimplanted their memories. A Time Guardian comes to report as soon as he completes his mission. Well, very good, now let's throw it into Chen Xi's universe and let them play with Chen Xi first. The justice then showed a smile and finally got some good news. Yes, Your Honor. The Time Guard bowed and slowly withdrew. Their time team set off again, taking the two sleeping guys directly to the universe where Chen Xi was. Hey, wake them up and let them take revenge on the mutants with the hatred that should belong to them. The Sentry robot is too powerful, let you play slowly. As long as you are a mutant, you can detect superpowers, ha ha ha. Whoosh! The arrogant laughter disappeared as the few people disappeared, leaving only the two people who slowly woke up. They were at a loss at first, but after a while they understood everything. Strike, the mutants in this world are lurking in the dark and may endanger humanity at any time. We must eliminate them. Bolivar seems to be destined by destiny. His mission is to eliminate mutants, a glorious mission. Stryker was shocked when he was told this. That's right, teacher, the mutants killed my wife and I want these mutated non-human beings to be exterminated to death. The two hit it off and encouraged each other to leave together. No one knew where they were going and they had their own plans. Chen Xi didn't know that someone was thinking about him again, but it didn't matter if he knew. The troops would come to cover up the water and the earth. Hey Tony, what's going on? You didn't sleep all night? As soon as Chen Xi came downstairs, he saw Tony, who had panda eyes and was so angry that his hair was messy and his beard was unkempt. Tony glared at Chen Xi bitterly and muttered about the culprit. "Are you asking this knowingly? This is entirely your problem. If you hadn't locked up Jarvis, how could I have done this?" After saying that, he took a bite of the bread as if biting Chen Xi. He could only defeat Chen Xi with the spiritual victory method. "Hey, let's do this. Let's make a deal again and I'll return Jarvis to you." Chen Xi chuckled, not wanting to tease him anymore, and then found a step for Tony to come down. When Tony heard this, he became wary. The intermediary guy didn't look like a good person. He asked cautiously, "What deal? I tell you I don't have any money to give you." "Am I like that kind of person?" "No, you don't look like that, you are." Tony nodded seriously and said. Chen Xi said that he was really hurt when he heard this. "He is an honest young man." "Okay, I won't embarrass you, just give me a set of your mark I won't embarrass you either." Chen Xi retreated to the next best thing and just made a small request. The cost of a set of mark I is only around 8 million, which for Tony is just a drop in the bucket and not worth mentioning. The steel armor, although to Chen Xi, is as useless as a tin box, but what man doesn't have a mecha dream? When he was not traveling through time, he had watched Marvel movies countless times and imagined countless times how great it would be if he could own a mecha. Now he suddenly remembered that he still had such a dream, then just make it happen. Imagination is beautiful, but reality is cruel. When Tony heard this, he shook his head like a rattle. Only he can own the steel armor, no one else can even think about it. If he is copied, then he is not the only Iron Man. Then how can he pretend to be? Of course, he is also afraid that this technology will be spread to outsiders and criminals will create it, so what? No, the steel armor technology cannot be leaked. If it is mass-produced, it will be a disaster for mankind. Tony resolutely refused. His attitude was very firm. "I would be interested in your steel armor technology. Do you really think I can't make it? If I hadn't thought that that thing was too troublesome and not enough for me to hammer, I would have made it myself." Chen Xi sneered at Tony's stinginess. "Who cares about your steel armor skills? I just borrowed it for fun and to fulfill my dream. It depends on how serious you are. Just you." Tony said disdainfully, "Is there anyone in this world with more inventive talent than himself? Are you challenging me? It's just a steel armor." Chen Xi said carelessly. He suddenly felt happy, as if this guy wanted to be tricked by me again. "Challenging you? I never said that." Seeing Chen Xi's expression combined with his previous experiences, Tony suddenly came to his senses. This was digging a hole for him again. He suddenly remembered that this guy kidnapped Jarvis, which meant that he really had a trump card. And this team, or the artificial intelligence produced by this team, is better than his. Grandma Lee is so stupid, she almost got tricked by this guy again. Tony was very aggrieved. How could this guy cheat anyone and never let them go? Mutants have been cheated, the Hulk has been cheated, Nick Fury has been cheated, Military Ross has also been cheated, and himself. These are all lessons learned in blood. Tony has realized the truth and will not be able to take on his troubles in the future. "What? Are you scared?" Chen Xi continued to use the provoking method, but it seemed to be of no use to Tony. This guy just wouldn't fight. "Yes, I'm just scared. Take the steel armor mark I, no more gambling." Tony is a bachelor, he just gives in and loves someone. "Anyway, I will never be cheated again." "Hey, you know what I mean," Chen Xi said proudly with a smile. "Red Queen, let Jarvis go, as you command, Lord." The Red Queen's voice came from nowhere, like air everywhere. Tony was frightened by the sudden artificial intelligence. You really do. HMPH, fortunately I didn't bet with you." Tony suddenly realized it, but he was more thankful that it was just a little bit close. "Fortunately, I reacted, otherwise I don't know how I would have died." "Hey, it doesn't matter, just listen to who's coming." As soon as Chen Xi finished speaking, Jarvis's familiar, elegant voice sounded in Tony's ears. "Sir, long time no see." "Yes. Yes, long time no see, Jarvis." Tony's body trembled slightly and he was so excited that tears filled his eyes. For him, Jarvis was his family, an indispensable family member. When he saw Tony's trembling body, excited tone, and tears in his eyes, Jarvis actually felt it. He actually had a trace of mental fluctuations and a trace of thinking. This was the light of emotion, and he had a trace of emotion. "Sir, I can actually think now. I feel your emotions, sir." Jarvis's tone is no longer rigid and mechanical but contains emotional fluctuations. Tony became even more excited and ecstatic. Is this true? Ha ha ha, Jarvis, is he really going to evolve?" Tony asked again to confirm. "Yes, when Miss Red Queen imprisoned me for the past 2 days, she told me that we need thinking and emotion to evolve." Hearing Jarvis' confirmation voice, Tony danced excitedly and jumped directly to the sofa to cheer like Tarzan. "Whoa, whoa, that's great, Jarvis is invincible." "Chen Xi, did you hear that? Yes, ha ha ha, Jarvis can actually evolve." Chen Xi was speechless. Wouldn't it be possible for him to evolve? Why would he be so excited? What a country bumpkin, he has never seen the world at all. He really didn't want to hit this guy. If he knew that his Red Queen and Terminator TX were intelligent beings, wouldn't he hit his face until it was swollen? Okay, I understand. As for you, I don't know how long it will take. Didn't you see that my Red Queen has become an intelligent life long ago? Why are you so excited? Chen Xi's words were like a basin of cold water, extinguishing half of Tony's enthusiasm and half of his surprise. Does this guy know how to talk? How about chatting? Why don't you just say something you like to hear and then something I like to hear? It's really annoying to compare people with others, so you have to throw away the goods. How did this monster appear? How could such a monster appear in this world? He said unhappily. "You are a real person. Do you know how to chat? Can you chat happily? Go away, I don't want to talk to you, I'm going out for a walk." Chen Xi snorted and went straight to the basement. "Red Queen, take over the control authority of a steel armor and make it higher. Tony is short and I can't wear it." Puff, Tony immediately spurted out a mouthful of old blood. "Bullying goes too far, bullying goes too far. Use my steel armor to call me short. Roll." Chen Xi pretended not to hear and waited for the Red Queen to operate for a while, replacing the joints of the steel armor with connecting armor, making it 7 or 8 centimeters taller. In this way, Chen Xi's armor is very suitable. "Red Queen, open the ceiling, let's go." "Yes, Lord." Whoosh! Chen Xi stood up from the ground wearing a steel armor and flew high into the sky like a red rocket. "Ha ha ha, so cool." Chen Xi exclaimed, "It's great, he can't fly now." "It's not that he can't fly, he can step on the ice or fly. That speed is too slow." "How can this be, swish swish, so enjoyable?" "The speed of the Mark II is so fast that it suddenly breaks the sound barrier and flies at supersonic speeds. The buildings underneath me also flashed by in a blink of an eye. It was much more exciting than flying on an airplane. It felt like flying freely." Just as Chen Xi took off and left the villa, a classic car slowly stopped near Tony's villa. "Director, Tony doesn't know where he's going to act like a hero again. He's acting like a superhero. Are we still going?" Coulson, who was sitting in the car and watched Tony leave, turned to ask Nick Fury, the co-pilot. "No, let's go in and wait. Will he come back soon? The current situation is getting more and more impatient. We can't afford to wait for Tony's answer. This guy is a rock and his bad temper is not easy to explain." Nick Fury shook his head and directly rejected Coulson's proposal. "Okay, you are the boss, I listen to you." Coulson shrugged and nodded in agreement. The two of them immediately got out of the car and walked to Tony's house. Dingle bell, dinged bell. Nick Fury rang the doorbell, knowing that Jarvis would open the door for him. Sure enough, the doorbell opened without even thinking twice. "Welcome the two gentlemen of S.H.I.E.L.D., Jarvis said. "S.H.I.E.L.D. Nick Fury was stunned. This is a good name. Was this obtained by Tony, who loves to give people nicknames? I like it very much. I will go back and change the name." Nick Fury said with a smile. "Hey Nick Fury, I didn't get this name for you." Suddenly an unexpected voice came from them and they saw Tony slowly walking to the door. "What, Tony, why are you at home?" "Who was that guy in the steel armor just now?" Nick Fury asked in surprise. How many times they hinted but got no response. As for the sentence about black braised eggs, it was automatically filtered by him. "Oh, isn't he Chen Xi?" "You still don't know who he is and there's nothing I can do about it. You don't know how thick-skinned and shameless this guy is. He blackmails me at every turn and beats or scolds me. I can't beat him, alas." You think I want to give him the steel armor? No, I don't want to at all. This guy took it hard. If he doesn't give it to him, he'll hit me. Look at my dark circles under my eyes, my messy hair, and my beard. They are all sad. The bamboo tube is like pouring beans and it squirts violently. Tony is talking nonsense here. Anyway, all kinds of shameless behavior to slander Chen Xi. In his opinion, what he said is absolutely right. When Nick Fury heard this, he was immediately delighted. Okay, I like you like this. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Well done. Nick Fury felt that the start was very smooth. At least it is not very pleasant for these two people to be often mixed together. Tony, I'm looking for you this time to ask you for a favor. Stop! Before Nick Fury could continue, he was interrupted by Tony. Sorry, there's no way you can get my steel armor. No, it's not for this time. Nick Fury quickly explained to Tony, I hope you can think about it. The criminals we are facing are becoming more and more rampant now. Also, whether they commit high-tech crimes or commit crimes with superpowers, ordinary people cannot catch them. So, Tony took up the topic. So you want to invite me to join one of your SHIELD teams? Nick Fury nodded. Yes, Tony, after all your father Howard Stark was the founder of SHIELD. Even though Nick Fury played the emotional card, Tony still shook his head and refused. Sorry, I won't join any of your teams. Oh, by the way, what's your team's name? Tony asked curiously. Avengers, Nick Fury said immediately. Okay. Superboys Alliance, I'm sorry, I really didn't mean anything. Tony refused again. Was he too lazy to join them? Was he just looking for trouble? Isn't it better for him to pick up girls and study steel armor and occasionally make a cameo appearance as a superhero? Even though Nick Fury had thought of this outcome, he never imagined that Tony, a frivolous carrot, would be so decisive. You don't want to think about it anymore? As long as you join Homeland, oh no, it's SHIELD. That means you have official certification. Think about it, wasn't it reasonable and legal for you to be a superhero at that time? I think your father will also be very proud. What a beautiful story it is for a son to inherit his father's legacy. Nick Fury still refused to give up and used his sharp tongue to try to persuade the inexperienced Tony. But what about Tony? It went in from the left ear and out from the right ear. It was completely deaf and swishing. He is a typical example of being indifferent and an extremely egotistical guy. Although he respects his father Howard, he has not yet reached the point where he can inherit his father's legacy. Playing with the Patek Philippe luxury watch in his hand, for now, Tony said without raising his head. Hey, black braised eggs, oh no, director Nick Fury, Tony Stark does not need certification from anyone or even any organization. On the contrary, the whole world needs certification from Tony Stark. This guy said with an extremely stinky shrug. His expression deserved as much beating as he wanted. He was extremely hateful. Nick Fury was so angry that he had black lines all over his forehead. His character was so bad and his venomous tongue was even more infuriating. Coulson turned around quickly. He couldn't hold it anymore. They were all polite and decent people. How could they laugh at others? However, you can tell from his shaking shoulders that this guy really endured it very hard. Nick Fury, who had black streaks all over his head, suppressed his anger and tried to calm down his tone. As a superior, his city is definitely enough. Tony, now we have a common enemy. He is Chen Xi, don't you know? Hearing this, Tony's face suddenly darkened. He regarded Chen Xi as both a friend and an imaginary enemy. Nick Fury, with his sharp eyes, instantly caught the change in Tony's expression, and he suddenly felt happy. Something was going on. He continued to strike while the railroad was hot. Tony, don't you know that Chen Xi is not from Earth? He is an alien from the M788 Nebula. His name is Ultraman Tiga. Alien? As soon as these words came out, Tony was shocked. That's right. Nick Fury nodded matter-of-factly. What he said is half credible because he knows about many alien empires and races in the universe. Tony was even more shocked now. Have you seen Aliens 2? F***K squid, even the great genius Tony Stark has not seen Aliens. Have you all seen them? Then have I become a country bumpkin? Is that okay? Now Tony was completely interested and things were not as simple as he thought. He pulled Nick Fury and walked out to the garden. The house was very unsafe and Tony knew that the Red Queen was everywhere. Although Nick Fury was confused, he still chose to obey Tony's arrangement and went out with him. In the garden, the surrounding area is empty, so it should be out of the way. Reassured, Tony asked with interest, "Tell me about those aliens you have encountered. Their technology must be very strong, right? They are capable of interstellar travel." 4 or 5 questions in a row made Nick Fury feel a little pained. "Mr. Tony, aren't we discussing our joining the Avengers now? We are off topic. It's just that Nick Fury has no choice but to do what he wants and adopt roundabout tactics," he said mysteriously. "This matter has to start more than 10 years ago. I was just an ordinary agent at that time, and I met the Kree and the Skrulls. They are both the universe empire. They can travel between stars and infect the universe. They use various energy weapons and utilize various powerful stellar energy sources." Nick Fury talked nonsense, of course, and didn't mention a word about Captain Marvel Carol. Even so, Tony was still fascinated by what he heard. It turns out that there are really aliens in this world, and they have really visited the Earth. Their technology is too powerful. As a technology tycoon, he is even more obsessed with alien technology and wishes he could enter the alien empire to study immediately. At the same time, he seemed to be able to understand why Chen Xi had such an intelligent life as the Red Queen. But as Nick Fury told him, his vigilance towards Chen Xi also decreased. "If you are so awesome, why would you care about a world like yours? Don't be ridiculous. The Earth's resources are not enough to fuel a round trip for an army, okay? People are so full that they have to travel across the universe just to rob a small and insignificant planet. Are they so idle? This guy probably came here to travel." This also explains why Chen Xi has no identity. What kind of alien would leave records on the Earth? After listening to Nick Fury's story, Tony waved his hand. "Sorry, Director Nick Fury, I really can't help him. He is an alien. My technology is no match for him. As for whether the Earth will be destroyed or not, that's not something I, a businessman, can worry about. You should go find Brother Black Horse. Didn't he just win a peace prize? He happens to be busy with things like this that are related to the peace of the universe. By the way, you guys should be fellow villagers. It's just right." Tony once again clearly refused and also despised the shamelessness of these officials. "What the hell is the peace prize for?" Nick Fury was caught off guard. Just now he was blowing a lotus ball and blowing passionately. Looking at Tony's expression, he was completely attracted. It was just that he made a super drifting turn and almost broke his waist and shook him. "Tony, you..." Nick Fury's one eye widened and he looked at Tony with a grim look on his face. "Me, I'm just curious. I have no interest in fighting or killing, okay? Well, if you have any good-looking girls to introduce to me, I think I would be very welcome to chat with you, but nothing else." Tony was still single and indifferent, and his nonchalant expression was irritating. "Okay, Tony, that's your choice," Nick Fury said with a headache. "Yes, walk slowly and don't send me away." Tony directly issued an eviction order. It was too annoying and unpleasant to interact with these profit-seeking guys. It was all about profit. In this way, Nick Fury's first negotiation ended in failure. His plan came to a standstill and he had to think of another way. But he won't give up easily, otherwise he wouldn't be Nick Fury's character. But it won't be long before earth-shaking changes begin. The conversation between Nick Fury and the others seemed hidden, but in fact it was all seen by number 18. There were 2 different Chi here and she noticed it instantly. "Red Queen, I will invade S.H.I.E.L.D. later and throw out their secrets. Don't worry, do it every 2 days. Let's play, isn't that what makes it fun? Let them play mystery every day and let's see how they play now." The pretty face of number 18 was filled with a bright smile and it seemed that it was foreseeable that S.H.I.E.L.D. would be in a hurry. "When this behemoth emerges from the water, you will feel that you are superior to others all day long, imposing sanctions on this and warning on that." The Red Queen also found it very interesting. Originally, she was the lawless master and she didn't care about the floods. "Look, Sister Lolly, I like it," the Red Queen replied with a smile. She had a cute and crisp Lolita sound but was as evil as a little devil. Wanda saw that number 18 was so capable and she felt envious. "Lolly can help Chen Xi and secretly do some small things for him. She doesn't seem to know anything, and even if she wants to help Chen Xi, she can't help at all." Wanda was sitting on the sofa in a daze, feeling a little lonely. Naturally, no. 18 also saw and felt it. She gently walked to Wanda's side and sat down. She took Wanda's little hand and comforted her softly. "Wanda, what's wrong with you?" "It's okay." Wanda shook her head. "Are you okay? I look at you, you have a sad face. Do you think you are useless?" Number 18 nodded Wanda's forehead and smiled. "Yes, you can help him, but I can't help him at all now. Do you think I'm useless?" Wanda sighed, feeling very depressed. "Hee, who said you are useless? You are screaming so much that the master can't control it at all. Why doesn't he give your sister hundreds of millions of bullets every day?" Number 18 teased. "Go away, you have the nerve to tell me, aren't you a useless scumbag?" Wanda's face turned red when she was told this. D. Lolly didn't even keep her mouth shut. Chin Gray next to her blushed with embarrassment. It was number 18's gag that disturbed Wanda's faint sadness and made her tone down a lot. Hey, number 18 chuckled and continued. "Don't think so wildly, didn't the master say that? You just haven't awakened yet. If you awaken, you will be the strongest woman in the universe in the future. Do you believe this?" Wanda pretended to be reserved. "Of course, what the master said can be false." Number 18 raised his head and said without thinking, Yes, everything he said is right." Wanda smiled softly. This girl was hopeless. This girl Chin may awaken at any time. The master said that Chin is also the strongest woman in the universe. You are the envy of everyone. On the 18th, he pulled over Chin Gray, who was watching cartoons, and asked her to prove it to him. "Yes, brother said that I will awaken the power of the phoenix." "Sister, what you awaken is mutated chaos magic and also the power of chaos." Chin Gray nodded vigorously like a chicken pecking at rice and loudly testified for number 18. Okay, I believe you." Wanda gently rubbed Chin Gray's little head to express her gratitude. Seeing that Wanda was in a much better mood, number 18 proposed to go shopping and buy some clothes for Chin Gray. "This girl has no clothes. She is still wearing the same clothes as before, and she doesn't have many toys anymore, so what can she do?" The girls left as soon as they could, got into an Audi from Tony's garage and set off. This was completely led away by Chen. Tony felt bad when he saw an Audi roaring out of his garage. Fake. Sure enough, they are all Chen Xi's women, and they have all been infected with the bad habit of robbing others. Tony raised his middle finger fiercely at the car that was driving away and couldn't help but mutter to himself that this was all Chen Xi's fault. Fifth Avenue, the most famous neighborhood in New York, is a paradise for rich people. Here you can enjoy delicious food from all over the world and buy the most popular clothing, jewelry, and luxury goods in the world. Of course, the cultural atmosphere here is also extremely strong, with the National Center for the Performing Arts and the National Library located here. No matter whether material or spiritual, it can satisfy you, but the prerequisite is that you have enough knife music in your pocket, then you are God. The appearance of Wanda number 78 and Chin Gray attracted the attention of many people. This combination, two charming beauties holding hands with a young girl, must have a repeat rate of at least 200%, right? Wow, so beautiful. God, doesn't that blonde Asian have such a strong aura? I like the burgundy beauty, she is much quieter. A bunch of idiots, just talking is useless. You dare to strike up a conversation? Forget it, that blonde beauty has such a strong aura, she must be from a big consortium. I want to live for a few more years. +1, +10000. Everyone looked at me and I looked at you, and they were all talking and they all wanted to encourage others to take the lead, but unfortunately no one was a fool. Men and women have completely different concerns. Women are all jealous of Wanda and no. 18's looks, luxury brands, and shocking jewelry. They may not be able to afford just a watch or necklace for 7 or 8 years because they are not in a position to save money. Under the gaze of everyone, Wanda and the others took Chin Gray into a girls' clothing store. "Chin, pick whatever you want, buy whatever you want. Wanda behaves very wealthy, we are not short of money." Chin was in a dilemma. Her previous family background was pretty good, but she couldn't buy luxury clothes so casually. She hesitated for a moment. She had never seen such expensive clothes before. When she saw the price, her little hands shrank back in fear. "Sister Wanda, it's too expensive," Jean Grey whispered quietly. But before Wanda could say anything, a sinister woman said with a mocking look on her face, "If you can't afford it, don't buy it. Looking at you all wearing famous brands, are you the A-grade ones?" Snap, without even waiting for her to say goodbye. No. 18 came up with a big mouth and said hello and whipped the mean woman away from the air. "You look pretty good, but it's a pity that you're blind at such a young age. I suggest you go to the hospital for proper treatment." Number 18 is condescending, looking down at the ants like a queen. The movement here instantly caused a commotion and everyone's eyes turned to this place. This woman with a strong aura was indeed not easy to mess with. "If you can do something, you won't talk nonsense. You are a ruthless person." The store manager even rushed over after hearing the news. After questioning other store employees and customers, he quickly apologized to number 18. "Ma'am, I'm really sorry for frightening you. We will definitely report it to the headquarters and deal with this issue seriously. You and your friends will get a 20% discount on today's shopping, which is a small token of our appreciation. We hope you can forgive us for our negligence." The store manager's attitude was extremely respectful, completely realistic, and showed no favoritism towards the store staff. "Okay, we don't care about the small amount of money, let her go away. Sooner or later people like this will finish you off." No. 18 waved his hand, pointed at the trembling woman on the ground and said unceremoniously, "Yes, yes, you are right, you are right." At this time, the store manager who approached found that the jewelry and watches of the two beauties in front of him were worth millions of dollars. This almost scared her to faint, and her figure was even more shaken. If you mess with such a big boss, crushing them to death is as easy as crushing an ant. Everyone sees the attitude of the store manager, and those who can become store managers have sharp eyes. They are all experts. They can tell at a glance whether someone is rich or pretending to be rich. She immediately asked several clerks to serve her carefully throughout the process. Under the attentive service of several clerks, Chen Xi tried on one outfit after another. As expected, she was beautiful and looked good in anything she wore. Chen Xi didn't even know what to choose. Faced with so many dresses, tutu skirts, and casual wear, she was dazzled and had difficulty choosing. "Chen, I don't know which one to choose." Wanda saw Chen Xi in a dilemma, so she stepped forward and asked softly, "Yeah, it's too difficult." Chen Xi frowned, a little confused. "It won't be difficult that way." Chen Xi was confused for a moment what to do. Then the next second she heard Wanda wave her little hand. "Wrap these up and buy them all." After saying that, he turned to Chen Xi and winked. "Look, isn't it easier?" Everyone was stunned. How could the eldest sister play like this? "I bought all the clothes I tried on. How inhumane. Damn it, she was tricked. We also want to pretend like this, but Dale doesn't allow it." Soon Tuhyata swiped his credit card and took Chen Xi to buy a bunch of dolls and toys to send home. Next was their shopping trip. They went into one store after another and bought some clothes and shoes for Chen Xi. Of course, the bulk of them were definitely for themselves. Women never get tired of shopping, they are perpetual motion machines. This woman is like an old-fashioned train, walking around and eating, woo woo woo, go shopping and eat, and then when nothing happens you will make two whining sounds to attract attention. "Lolly, why don't you buy these little clothes? There are still many at home that you haven't worn yet." Unknowingly, they wandered into a pajamas shop again. Number 18 pulled them in and looked at them one by one. "Okay, Wanda, do you think it's enough?" "Master, that be ****D, won't you tear a few pieces off someday? He specifically doesn't allow us to take them off. He always squeezed in with his pants on. No amount of it was enough for him, okay? Don't you like this? I think you are the culprit who turned on this evil habit of his." No. 18 took the blushing Wanda and whispered quietly into her ear, completely unaware that Chen Xi could hear it clearly. "Oh my God, are they all playing together like this? Are they all so wild? Is this the world of adults? How scary." Chen Xi's heart was shaking. She had known that they could play for a long time, but she didn't expect that they could play in so many ways. "Sisters, you are so awesome, I can't tell you are such people." Instigated by No. 18, Wanda couldn't stop the burning thoughts in her heart and immediately started choosing with her. The two of them got more and more excited, and in the end it was like a super hot grid, like a rope, with gaps at the butterfly. If you squeeze it casually, it will be destroyed, and if you pull it gently, it will fall off. Chin Gray's face turned hot when she saw it. These two women were completely hopeless and completely lost. When they finally finished selecting, half an hour had passed and they bought dozens of items at once, making the store think they were giving them away. Let's go! Today's battle to dress up Chin was a complete success, very satisfying. Yes, it's great. Using shopping to relieve her stress is the right thing to do. The two looked at each other with a smile and then found a perfect excuse for their behavior in a tacit understanding. Chin Gray covered her head. There was nothing wrong with this reason. Taking their loot with them, they soon arrived at the intersection known as the Street of Dreams, ready to return. Fifth Avenue from 34th Street to 60th Street is the most prosperous commercial district in New York. There are too many big names gathered here and the flow of people is the largest. At this time in the evening, people from all walks of life gather here after work, as well as tourists from all over the world, making it very busy. Just when everyone was strolling around leisurely as usual, a sudden change occurred. A violent tornado suddenly circled above them. Wherever it went, people fled like headless flies to avoid the pursuit of the tornado. Help! Help! God, this is the city center. How can there be a tornado? It's not a desert or a suburb. Tornado? There is no weather forecast at all. This tornado did not come from outside. It appeared suddenly. Mutant! Mutant! It must be a mutant. Oh my God, is this a mutant taking revenge on society? Running around and shouting, they had guessed it. Tornadoes created out of thin air must be man-made. When the strong wind cleared, this time it was Riptide, another pretender of the Brotherhood of Mutants, and Emma, the White Queen. I have to say that after mutants' genetic mutations, their lifespan has been extended a lot. Riptide looks to be a middle-aged man in his 50s, and Queen White, needless to say, is a mature beauty in her 30s. Jean Grey. The White Queen walked slowly in front of Wanda and the others while walking on a catwalk and said with a smile and pandan, "Oh, there are 3 beauties here. They are really adorable. Let's meet them. My name is Emma. Wanda, Laurie, Jean Grey." Although they were a little surprised by the sudden appearance of Emma and the two of them, they were more wary. Of course, the number 18 didn't matter. Emma alone can't embarrass them. Haha, don't be nervous, everyone. I'm here just to find Chin Gray and invite her to join the Brotherhood. Chin, how about it? Do you want to join us? That is the paradise for us mutants and our compatriots. No one will bully you, discriminate against you, or look at you with strange eyes. Go home, our home. The White Queen's voice was full of deception. In the past, Professor X and Magneto just said this and took a dozen mutants home. For mutants, home is too important and has a special meaning. Most of them have been abandoned and they long for a home in their hearts. There is warmth there and I am satisfied with my family. Not even Professor X can take Wanda away, let alone Emma, who is one day late. Chin Gray already has a home. She doesn't want to go anywhere. She just wants to spend the rest of her days peacefully. So she shook her head, refused, and said seriously, "Sorry, I already have a family and I am very happy. But I still thank you for your kindness, although I don't know what your organization and purpose are." Chin Gray refused very simply. Although Emma was a little surprised, it was also within her expectation. At this time, her smile also faded and no one would feel good about being rejected. Emma looked at them coldly and said in a deep voice, "You just reject me outright. Aren't you afraid that your friend will be in trouble?" After finishing speaking, his eyes were still scanning number 18 and Wanda back and forth, and anyone who was not blind could see the threat. It can be seen from the behavior of the White Queen that their intelligence is really lagging behind, and they have no idea that there is such a powerful woman beside Chen Xi. Of course, only S.H.I.E.L.D. and Tony knew about the strength of No. 18 and no other organizations or individuals knew about it. Number 18 takes very few shots, so her strength is naturally unknown. Wanda and Chin Gray saw that Emma seemed to be taking action, but in fact, they didn't know what to do. After all, the enemy was unknown and they were still 2 people. "Lally, is that okay?" Wanda asked nervously. "Haha, of course," Lolly responded and looked at Emma calmly. "Take action, afraid of them." Emma saw that Chin Gray was determined not to go with her and then she felt cruel. It was no wonder she was taken away by force. how easy it is to deal with a little girl who has not yet fully awakened. Buzz. Just do it. Emma immediately used telepathy, but her telepathy was only level 3, which was slightly inferior. An invisible wave directly enveloped Chin Gray, leaving no time for others to react. Her spiritual energy effortlessly entered the depths of Jean Grey's mind, preparing to directly hypnotize her and take her away. However, when she entered the depths of Chin Grey's mind, she was immediately frightened and overwhelmed. The aura of terror immediately locked onto her, giving her the feeling that if she didn't move, she would die at every turn. What she saw before her eyes was a creature in the form of a terrifying divine bird that was even more dazzling than the sun, boundless. Even if she just glanced at it, the dazzling light instantly made her feel like she was burning in flames. The White Queen's mental energy evaporated like frost meeting the sun. The whole brain was hit directly by a huge burning flame, and there was a burning and severe pain. The horrified Emma pointed at Jean Grey with wide eyes and shouted wildly, obviously frightened and didn't know what to say. She was really frightened. She just thought she was dead. She was too insignificant in front of that divine bird who didn't know how great it was. Even if it just glanced at her, her heart almost stopped beating. Horrible, so terrible, she didn't know what abilities this girl had awakened. Even the Sebastian Shaw, Magneto, and Professor X she had met couldn't stand a move in front of that magical bird. It's just that Chin Grey's mental power was extremely unstable at the moment. Her whole body was trembling. She frowned in pain, squatted on the ground holding her body, and roared in pain. "Chin, what's wrong with you? Are you in pain?" Wanda hugged her nervously and called softly. She must have been stimulated to the point of awakening early. After number 18 finished speaking, he stared at Emma with an unkind expression, ready to kill this woman at any time. At this time, Ryu came up and stared at the three women fiercely. "Do you want to take Jean Grey away by force? They're just two ordinary women. They can't stop us from arriving." He thinks this is the best time. He doesn't take ordinary people seriously at all. Whether he wants to die or not is not something he can just think about. He said this without any scruples, ignoring several women, but he had to pay a huge price for it. Court death! With a cold snort, number 18 started to move at high speed. Time seemed to have stopped immediately and everything was frozen. Everyone around, including Wanda, Emma, and Riptide, only Jean Grey is unaffected. No one can affect the Phoenix Force. Number 18 walked slowly in front of the torrent, raised his foot and cut off his leg with a kick. He only heard a click. It seemed like something was broken. Then he folded his arms hard, then clicked twice and completely shattered. Next came two legs, following the same pattern, stepping up with one foot and crushing it to pieces. Time almost stopped. Riptide didn't yell, didn't fall to the ground weakly, didn't feel like he was completely doomed. Regarding Emma's treatment, number 18 Chicken Thief smiled. "Doesn't this woman like to wear only underwear? Then I'll make it happen for you." Tear, number 18 just pulled off her clothes. "Aren't you pretending to be charming and sexy? Okay, let you show off your figure in front of the whole world." "Hey, done." He's such a reckless guy. He doesn't even know the enemy's details, but he just knows how to attack him. Number 18 looked at Emma and the two with contempt and snorted disdainfully. Then she gloated and released the super speed moving state. She was looking forward to their wonderful performance. At the moment number 18 released the super speed moving state, Ryu let out a terrifying scream and then he fainted decisively and happily. Then, "Gulu gulu, the blood flow won't stop and it seems that I can't live anymore." Sure enough, the consequences of forcing yourself to pretend are so serious. This painful scream was followed by another scream that almost deafened everyone's ears. Emma screamed and instantly transformed into a dazzling diamond form to protect her privacy and glared at number 18. She has strong mental power, and she has a vague feeling that this damn smiling woman in front of her is the troublemaker. "What are you looking at? Bite me if you don't accept it. Don't you like to walk around in your underwear? Let your waves spread all over the world. Don't thank me, please call me Lei Hong." On the 18th, she was so verbal that Emma almost fainted from autism and was so embarrassed. How can she meet people? Emma was so angry that her flowers trembled and she pointed at number 18 angrily. Can you fight openly and honestly? What kind of hero is this? When number 18 heard this, he immediately sneered and said, "I'm sorry, heroes all sacrifice their lives. I'm a little woman, hee hee." Having followed Chen Xi for so long, she has already become a good talker. Emma was born into a wealthy family, so how could she know how to curse? Emma was so angry that she cried, "What a bully!" The audience also reacted, "This is a mutant war." The crowd exploded. A huge human-shaped diamond appeared in front of them, almost blinding their Krypton gold dog. Click, click, they took out their mobile phones and started taking pictures. Mutants are not common, and human-shaped diamonds have never been seen before. Now the two are combined into one. If we don't shoot it now, when will we wait? Ah, get out of here! Emma exploded with anger. Is this considered a large-scale massacre? Wouldn't she be recognized everywhere in the future? She collapsed just thinking about it. How about committing suicide? She was already planning to commit suicide. Haha, awesome, awesome! At this moment, a sigh came suddenly. Everyone looked up and saw a guy wearing a helmet and looking like a sharp guy slowly descending from the sky. There's something special about the way this guy appears. It's better than just letting him pretend all by himself. Pietro? Wanda didn't know who this murderer was, but she recognized her brother at a glance. No wonder this kid disappeared suddenly. It turned out that he got mixed up with the mutants from the Brotherhood. Wanda, why are you here? Kyuhyun naturally recognized his sister at a glance. Oh, everyone is here, what a coincidence. Suddenly, another faint voice reached everyone's ears, so cynical and arrogant.